Okay, we're live. Started. Mark Christian, president. I muted you, Ellie, because you had a lot of feedback where you're at. Somebody that just joined by phone number, 917 number. If you're a board member, please identify yourself so I can mark you for attendance.
Jeremy Motion Fuchs in transit.
Okay, I will mark you down.
Oral is in.
So we have 11 people. For a quorum, we need half of 34 plus 1, which is what? 17, 18? 18 people?
18.
It's like Veronica just joined us. Putting her down. That means we need 6 more.
Sandy just got in.
And Naomi's in.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Hello.
Ornella's in. David is in.
Okay, 2 more we need for a quorum.
Bernadette is in.
Ken Gelnick's in. So Al, we have a quorum. You want to start? You ready to start?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I'm recording. It is 7 p.m. It is June 23rd, 2022. This is the full board meeting of Bronx Community Board 11. And let me share the agenda so we can turn it over to our Sergeant at Arms who will
Breaking up.
Jeremy, you're lagging.
You're breaking up, but I think I get it, right? You want me
Can you
to?
see?
I
Yeah,
see.
can you see my screen?
I can see your screen. Yes.
You want it larger or is that fine?
No, that's fine. That's fine. I have no problems with it, unless anyone else wants it larger. No. Okay, we can start with the Pledge of Allegiance. All right. So I'll say it, and no one else needs to talk at the same time. If you don't mind, because it's right. So here we go. Well, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we'll have a moment of silence for our first responders and medical and military service personnel and all the victims of state-sponsored aggression, COVID-19, and racial and social injustice in the United States. Okay, thank you. Okay, Jeremy.
All right, so we're going to turn to the gallery. I don't know if Mr. Bob Press is in, but he was the first to register to speak. If not, I don't know if Roxanne Delgado's in. She's next. I know Flora Luyando is in.
Yes, I'm in, but do second call for me because I'm trying to get off this train. Sorry.
Okay, so Flora, are you prepared to speak?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Okay, Flora, we can hear you.
Okay, wonderful. I'll begin. Good evening. Hello.
So I'm going to give you a 30-second warning, if you don't mind. So you have 2 minutes. Okay, great. Okay, you can go.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Doctora Flora Luyando. I am the Chief Wellness Director of Melotimes, a minority, Latina, and returning citizens-owned social equity cannabis company. We are hoping to open a retail cannabis dispensary license in the state of New York. Black and brown communities have been historically left out legally with cannabis industry with a professional vetted plan for the state-of-the-art cannabis industry. We can start to change our future with the right neighborhood and the interests of our endeavor. Getting media attention is what we've been doing in a positive way. We have many of publications in business journals and daily news on our story. And our next step to our journey is to work with you all on the local community to bring out our operations to a local holistic approach. We know that cannabis business can have a polarizing influence on people, but this shouldn't be a cause because dispensaries are known in the neighborhood to increase the value of property, an average of $500. Cannabis dispensaries are also not a random relocation shop. Most people think that it's just a retail shop, but it's not. It's a luxury store with high-end branded retails, such as a high-end jewelry store. Dispensaries are also well known for holistic approaches to solve elements and diseases in consumer approaches. And also, we will have an on-site guard inside and outside for surrounding businesses for security. Our value extends far beyond profit.
30 seconds.
We aim to support the local community and applicants to hire them. We also have a big picture in associating to reduce opiate consumption by having a cannabis in the community. Please allow me to introduce my team, Roger and Eric Spencer, in a way to bring approach regulations and business compliance to sustain and value the income and community throughout with having a dispensary.
Perfect. Thank you. That was perfect. 30 seconds. We're finished.
So they did come and speak. The CEO of the company did come and speak at the Economic Development Committee,
Okay.
which was in person, but it was recorded.
Okay.
So unless there's any questions, we'll move on to the next gallery session speaker.
Jeremy, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Phyllis.
Okay, go ahead, Phyllis.
Why did you pick this neighborhood? Are you from the area?
Yes, I am. I'm a born native New Yorker, raised in the Bronx. So it's important to have community and representation that looks like myself and the environment, such as people from the Bronx.
And you've lived in the Bronx your whole life?
Throughout my life, yes. But right now I live in the Upper West Side, Harlem. But my heart is in the Bronx.
Good
Also-
question, Phyllis, because she didn't state that she lives in this area.
Right.
Say,
I
you
live in
avoided giving up. You said the Bronx. Phyllis, I think, was aiming towards a specific area.
The Allerton area, the Allerton Avenue area.
Yeah, and
I was raised in the South Bronx, Hunts Point area. The Bronx is my community, but Roger Thomas is in that area, my team member, the CEO of the company. He has been raised in the Gun Hill Road area, 233rd area. So we're Bronx natives.
That's not Community Board 11.
Right.
I'm
Gun Hill and 233rd is
Oh.
not Community Board 11.
I actually live in the Community Board 11 area. I live on the corner of Allerton and Boston Road.
he's a resident of ours. He
Yes.
is.
Right. But going farther north would not be Community Board
Okay,
11.
and they established. He established he's from the community. That's good.
All right.
Thank
So
you for the
is-
presentation today.
Okay.
Yeah, listeners, any other questions? Thank you very much for coming. All right, I don't know if Ms. Delgado is ready. If not, we'll move on to the next gallery session speaker. Charlene Jackson Mendez is here, I believe. Charlene?
Charlene, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. I just had to unmute myself.
Okay, unmute yourself and let me know, and I'll give you you have 2 minutes and with a 30-second warning, okay?
Okay.
Okay, you can start.
The Van Ness community is bounded by East 180th Street to the west, East Tremont Avenue to the south, Bronxdale Avenue to the east, and Sagamore Avenue to the north. We are one diverse community of approximately 14,500 individuals. But for unknown reasons, the northern portion of our community is no longer recognized as a part of Van Ness. How did this happen? By whose authority? The street co-naming that passed in violation of CB 11's stated guidelines has placed the Van Ness community at risk for harm. The conflict that exists within the country of the foreign leader being honored is now being played out in our community between warring factions of that country in the form of very aggressive and threatening public comments on social media. The northern portion of Van Ness has become a proxy for that country. Community Board 11 promised many months ago to update the guidelines regarding street co-namings so that it is made explicit that street co-namings are meant to honor individuals that have made substantial contributions within their lifetimes directly to their respective communities. Joe Bombase, Camille DeVito, Linda White, and Camille Knight. These are the individuals that Van Ness lost in the last year who meet the stated criteria to be honored in a street co-naming. When a member of the community files a formal complaint, they are told mockingly that their concern is personal, Islamophobic, or part of a conspiracy against the board. The substance of the question is never addressed. The desire to have a representative, ethical community board is unfathomable to present leadership. Profanity was even used by the chair of the ethics committee on more than one occasion at the last meeting. The community deserves better. A motion to delay the election to be held tonight should be made. Nearly 1/3 of the board has not been seated. If Community Board 11 was truly interested in representing the entire community, they would not proceed when such a significant portion of the community remains voiceless.
Okay, Charlene, that's okay. Thank you. Time's up. Any questions, comments? Anyone?
Yes, I have, I just have an update. Both Linda White and Camille DeVito, I've already filled out their paperwork. And even though it's been delayed because of a lot of other important issues in Van Ness Neighborhood Alliance, they will be the signatures and all that other stuff, that will be done. That is something that I had said that I would be doing, and I am continuing to do that. So, and it has to work within my timeline, of course, with everything else that's going on. So it is not something that hasn't been done. So it is something that is being done. So I just wanted everyone on the board and Charlene for you to know that.
I spoke to Roger Bombay's Joe's brother, and I asked him to get me a list of names that we could put his name forward for a street naming also.
Okay. Unless there's any other questions or comments, Oral, I think we'll move on to the next gallery session speaker.
Yes, and okay, so the next galleries, unless there's any more questions or comments, we'll move on to the next speaker.
So we have a member of the employee of the Department of City Planning. I do not know how to pronounce your name. I'm sorry. If you are, I think it's, I don't want to screw it up.
That's all right.
What's
So
that?
go ahead and pronounce your name for us, so because
Yeah.
I can't get it. I'm not good at it either. So go ahead.
That's all right, no problem. Thanks for having me. My name is Toon Dooling. I'm a borough planner at the Bronx Borough Office for the Department of City Planning. And I'm here tonight to give a little bit of context on one of the agenda items for tonight, which is 2560 Boston Road rezoning proposal. In 2019, the city charter was amended by a vote of New York City residents to require a notice of applications that are not yet certified by the City Planning Commission. But that notice is given at least 30 days before an application will be certified by the City Planning Commission to give community boards like yours and Land Use Committee enough time to become familiar with the project and have a little bit of lead time with all that. So later on, when the application is certified by the City Planning Commission and the Department of City Planning thinks that it's feasible to have certification take place later this summer, it will then afterwards go to your Land Use Committee and the Community Board, just as any other ULURP application. But this notice that was given on June 10th was really meant as a heads up to the Community Board to become familiar with the application. The application and a lot of materials can be found on the publicly accessible zoning application portal. That's a portal that is run by the Department of City Planning. There you can find all these documents and more
30 seconds.
The application. And you'll become familiar with the application before it actually enters the public review process, when the application will be in front of the Land Use Committee and your board.
Thank you, Tim.
Okay.
All right. Any questions or comments from anyone? Because right now, tune, from what I understand, is just a precursor before anything, right? That's what.
Yeah, it's just out of courtesy. It's a heads up. Yeah, that it's coming in the months to come.
And then it'll come before our Land Use Committee when this comes time. That's fine. So we'll be ready.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, ideally, if your committee meets with them before it's certified, there's more room to make suggestions or ask, so to speak. But to my knowledge, I could be wrong about that, but that's historically.
Okay, that's fine. Thanks, Jeremy.
Yep. Okay, and then that would.
When I get a phone, may get a meeting right now.
Sharado, could you mute yourself, please?
I'm here. Can't even get into the meeting.
Shadow.
So
we can hear you. If you can mute, that'll be great.
I'm just gonna mute him. All right, Bob Press is here.
Yes,
You're prepared
thank
to
you.
speak, Bob?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Hearing the City Planning Commission, I have one question. Is this as of right, or is it going to be a zoning change? And that's what the board members should have been asking. But my comments about tonight's agenda is you have Golden Corral listed at 3250 Austin Road for a liquor license. Its actual address is 2375, and that was at the bottom of the letter sent to the board. My other comment is changing the bylaws as to how many meetings a standing committee may have during a year could be detrimental to the board. It's going to say that the committee will meet when needed or when the chair of the committee says it's needed. That could mean that a committee may not meet during the year. Since the board meets 10 times a year, I'm sure that in 5 of those 10 months, that a committee chair could find something to talk about their committee, one way or another. And I think the board should have a minimum of 5 or at least even 4 meetings that committees should have during a calendar year from the community board, from September 1st or July 1st, I should say, through June 30th. My last comment is about Mellow Time, and I'm glad that I was behind them because technically they were first on the agenda. They did say that, I too had the impression that all 3 members lived in the community board when Mr. Thomas spoke at the Economic Development Committee meeting. And he already, and in case nobody knows, he gave, I asked him, do you have a suggested location for it? And he said Allerton Avenue off of Boston Road and Bronxwood Avenue. So that is the preferred site for them to put their cannabis store. All right, maybe they'll have to find an alternate site, but Mr. Thomas said it was an open store that was available for rent. That's it for me. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you for that correction for the agenda. Yeah, it's Truman Avenue. There's a hyperlink though for the Golden Corral with the correct address.
Okay, and also, Robert, the reason why I don't want to get into zoning, it's too early, Robert. I would have to see the proposal and look at it before I make any comments. That's the professional approach in my opinion. But we can
been noted though, if
No,
there is.
I don't. I think Bob's right. It's never too early. You know, you can't put the baby out with the bathwater type of thing.
Yeah, but Debbie, I've been doing this for I know I don't like this. I don't like saying that, but Debbie, before you get anything, you have to review it first, right? It's not a done deal. It's not done yet. So you need to review something first. If you get a book, someone writes a book, you're going to review it first before you make any comments. So I have to review it first, look at it first, and look at the different alternate zoning requirements at a professional level. Then I can make an appropriate and intelligent judgment on that. So it's not like if I jump the gun, it's not doing anyone any service.
Yeah, but we also don't need zoning change.
People talking at the same time.
Yeah, you're right.
We also don't need zoning change like they're having problems in other neighboring community boards. We don't need developers to go and try to go zoning changes to please themselves.
You don't know what the zoning change is gonna do. It may improve it, right?
So Bernadette, you have a question, Bernadette? You're muted, Bernadette. I muted everybody, Bernadette. Bernadette, I muted everybody.
I'm so sorry. The question is that it does need to be reviewed. That is definite. But in the past, the time to review and the time to respond have been, it's a small window, and it does not give the community enough time to address certain concerns and to speak up. So I think that when there is a review time, that's great. But there needs to be a timeline where the community gives as much or more before any wheels go into motion. So I think that is something needs to be stated when review starts.
Could I just quickly give some clarity on or some answers to the questions? It is not an as of right development. It is subject to the public review process called ULURP, as Ms. Ferreira said. And therefore, it will be like in front of you, this application. It will need to be reviewed. It will need to be approved. And the notice, this is also the reason why this item is on the agenda, is really to give the community board enough time to become familiar with the application that will be in front of you later on.
Mr. Dooling, Jeremy, can I speak?
Go ahead, Ken.
Jeremy, it's Ken Gillen. Can I speak? Oral, can I speak something for a minute?
Go ahead.
I am planning to have a land use committee meeting about this later in the summer. The land use committee members will get the distribution of the materials that we got from the city planning, and we will have a public meeting about this, even though it's right now in the preliminary stages. Mr. Dooling, as I understand from the application materials, it is a zoning change from a commercial to a residential with a commercial overlay. But we will discuss that at the land use meeting, and we should have a public hearing about this. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken.
Okay. Unless there's any other questions or comments, we hopefully have our last Galley session speaker, Roxanne Delgado, if she's still in.
Hello,
Hi,
Roxanne.
hi there. Yes, may I please have a 30-second warning, please? Because I didn't prepare anything in writing.
Okay. You can
Thank
start.
you. Okay, it's Roxanne Delgado. I'd like to say I'm very disappointed with how this nominee election ran this year. First of all, Committee 8 and Committee Board 7 both held public meetings for the nomination election. And I'm just disappointed how the lack of transparency and democracy, because the current chair handpicked the 3 appointees who just happened to nominate him. I mean, this is the most undemocratic move I've ever seen. This is like it's just sad. And what saddens me the most is I brought up concerns at the ethics meeting and put aside the personal attacks and the profanity and the lack of proper manners. What hurt me the most was the fact that when I mentioned how the community board tends not to take public input or notify the public, the chair said to me, well, board members are the public, so the public is having input. I mean, this faulty logical, this circular logic is not what I expected to hear. I think we need new leadership. That's drastically, because this board is not functioning well. It's not functioning for the best interest of the whole community. It's functioning by a few people for the benefit of a few, and there's definitely conflict of interest involved. And this is not conspiracy theory, these are facts. And I feel so saddened that the rest of the board members, for some reason, they seem to have checked out and not be more active involved to keep a check and balance on this Community Board 11. Because what happened with the men's shelter, what's happening with street cold naming, what's happening with other issues where a few are dictating, making decisions without public input, and sometimes not in the best interest for the whole community. So anyhow, enjoy the rest of your summer.
30
Thank you.
seconds. Okay. Thank you, Roxanne.
Okay.
Okay, Jeremy. Anyone? Jeremy?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Yeah, there's been a little technical.
Any comments or questions?
Okay. If not, then we're going to close the gallery. And chairman's report, Mr. D'Angelo.
Good evening, everyone. Our first order of business this evening would be, the leadership committee and the executive board voted to remove certain members of the community board for non-attendance. We asked the people to come forward and give their reasons for their absences, and neither one did, to my knowledge. Jeremy, could you give us a rundown on the absentees of the 2 people we were talking about?
So there were 2 members that came before the exec board. If you can see my screen, it should be clear. Melanie LaHose and Cecilia Smoker. Melanie did give some reasons. I believe she is here tonight. I don't want her to feel compelled to discuss her specific reasons publicly. I did share the response with the executive board, I believe. I don't know if I shared it with the full board. I don't think I shared it with the full board. So yeah, she missed full board meetings and health committee meetings this time around. And if you want, I mean, the attendance for mostly all this stuff is public. Usually it's if you look at the minutes. I can go into detail if you want. I don't know how you want to proceed. If you want to give Mulaney a chance to speak, but again, Mulaney, you don't have to go into specifics. We can vote to go into executive session for that.
Absolutely. I would like, again, we would like to hear if there are extenuating circumstances. We would like to hear that before we make our decision. It's only fair. So if there are extenuating circumstances and we need to go into executive session for that, we will do that.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So I agree with Al with what he said. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak. I did write an email to Jeremy explaining my extenuating circumstance. I don't feel comfortable sharing certain personal information with so many people on a call, but I definitely am.
And please don't, Melanie, we really don't need to, hear it.
I would definitely like to share that I have been a part of the board for about 2 years, and I am a very active member of the board. I do participate in the public safety committee and the health services committee as well. For a period of time, some of the health services meetings weren't being held for a little while. And I do participate in the public safety meetings, and some of the full board meetings I unfortunately did miss due to extenuating circumstances, personal reasons. I did type up and share with Jeremy, and Jeremy, whoever you need to forward that to, please do so as needed. But of course, I am here tonight, and I will be attending the rest of the meetings. Of course, during my duration here, I would like to remain on the board. I understand that there is a decision that needs to be made, of course, because we have to follow our bylaws and our attendance rules and regulations, which is completely understandable. But I do believe that the time that I have missed may be excused if it's up to if it's up to you, if it's okay with you, and I'd like to remain on the board.
Yeah, so I could forward her email on to everybody right now, if that's helpful.
I think what we should do is we just should table this until we do get a chance to, see Melanie's reasons. And again, it's not something that should be shared with everyone, but if they're legitimate reasons, maybe just the executive board, which can then recommend that Melanie be removed from the list rather than to share it with everyone.
Excellent idea, Al.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Melanie, are the circumstances going to continue in your personal opinion? I mean, honestly, or do you feel that whatever the situation was has been resolved and, will not be an obstacle for you? So I'm just curious about that. I guess that's kind of a yes or a no question. You don't have to go into detail.
Oh, of course, Bernadette. Thanks for asking. It was it was actually a health concern that I did have temporarily for a few months. It is resolved now, but thank you so much for asking. It's definitely not something that should it should be something that should be settled already, not occur again. So that won't lead me to continue missing any meetings in the future. Thank you for your question.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Melanie. Jeremy.
All right, so Lester, go ahead, Al.
I would like to make a motion that we table this until we further review Melanie's circumstances. Can I get a second?
Table.
Second. Any discussion? Anyone opposed? All right, it's tabled until the executive board can review the reasons for Melanie's absences.
Yeah, assuming there are no abstentions either. And then go ahead, Al. You got the next one?
All right, go ahead. Can we just give us some breakdown on the absenteeism of?
Yeah, so then one other board member, Cecilia Smoker. Again, this is for non-attendance. And if you look at if we look at the minutes, hold on, I can share it. Right here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 absences. I don't know if Ms. Smoker is here tonight. If you are, could you please let us know so I can mark you present for the meeting tonight? I did mark Mulaney. If there's anybody else, or we can go over attendance later. Or see my screen.
We also asked Ms. Smoker to please, afford us any reasons that may be available that you would like to share with us, so that we can evaluate the circumstances, and she's never come forward.
So Al, do you want to vote on it now then, if we don't hear from her?
The motion is made then to remove Cecilia Smoker for excessive absences from the committee board. Do I have a second?
I second it.
All right. Any discussion?
I do have a question, just a quick discussion. Has anything been, has she submitted anything to Jeremy or Al?
Not to my knowledge.
Was she
She-
requested? Did
she-
anybody
no.
request?
She was given the opportunity to respond. And she said she couldn't attend the executive board meeting because she had a conflict. And, she typically has another meeting the same night as our meetings. And so I think I advised her that, if she wants to stay on the board, the executive board will probably want to know. I think the question you just asked is what's going to change going forward. And I did recommend that they submit something in writing if they don't, at least that.
Okay, thank you.
I have not received anything to my knowledge.
All right, thank you, Jeremy. Any other discussion? Anyone against? Any abstentions? The motion carries unanimously. Would you send a letter to Ms. Smoker, to Jeremy, on behalf of the board?
Yep. Let me go back to the agenda. Gallery session.
Yeah, the next one is a motion to limit the gallery sessions for committees also to 2 minutes. What's happening is it's turned into a gripe session at times, and the back and forth takes up too much time from the committee. If the person needs to answer more questions, the committee members can ask those questions, and then the person has a limited time to answer the question. So we want to limit the questions to 2 minutes. That's the motion. Is there any discussion on the motion before I present it as a formal motion?
I do.
Is it clear enough?
I'll speak to it.
Hi, Malcolm.
Yeah, I'm personally, I'm not really in favor of this motion. I feel like, we only get to really meet once a month as a full board and as committees themselves. And I feel like, if people within the communities have their own gripes and things that are concerning them, they should definitely have as much time afforded to them to discuss these things, even if we may view it as a gripe or disagree with what's being said. So I'm not really in favor of limiting their voices for this at all. So I'm a vote nay when it's time to.
I just want to clarify. It doesn't stop the person from explaining, making an explanation. They have a presentation to make for 2 minutes, and then if anything needs clarification, any member of that committee can then ask the question, and that person can then explain further what she was talking about. So it's not limiting their right to speak. It is just limiting their time to present their case. And then after that, any member of the committee can ask, as many questions as they wish of the person. What has happened in the past is it turned into a gripe session where the person or persons would just continue to talk and demean other people, and we want to stop that.
I agree with you, Al. I agree with you, Al.
Okay, so some people raise their hands. If we can go in that order, Ken Galnick, I think, was first.
Jeremy, just real quick, did we go into did Al call for a motion? Are we in like the discussion stage?
So
or
the motion was voted on in the executive board, so it's in the discussion phase. You don't need a second. It was already approved by the sub body.
Okay, sounds good. Just put me on the list, please, to speak then.
All right, so I saw Ken Galnick, followed by Rich Reynoso, followed by Naomi Pemberton, and then Yahe. If there's anybody else, please raise your hand. Ken Galnick, you had a question?
My understanding of this change is that if the committee wants to, they can actually waive this requirement there if they see that there is a reason for it. So all it does is, I'm sorry?
Absolutely. That discretion will be up to the chair of the committee. It's limited to 2 minutes. If you have someone that comes before your committee and has to give a long explanation of what they're there for, and you okay it as chair, then that's fine.
That's fine. It really does not limit it. It just makes it a little bit more, just corrals it a little bit more, but it does not actually limit anybody. Thank you.
Right. For example, the health committee has someone, a doctor or a nurse coming before them and for an explanation, they can give them as much time as they need to make that explanation. My concern is when you have people in the gallery that just want to gripe about something and they can go on for half an hour. This way, they make their concerns known in 2 minutes, and that's enough. If the committee wants to hear more, then they just ask a question.
Okay, who's next now, Ken? Ken.
All right, so Richard Reynoso. Richard?
I retract my comment question. We can move on to the next person.
Okay, Naomi Pemberton?
No, I just wanted to state that I agree with this motion because, I think it gives other people opportunity to speak. That's one, because the meetings can go on and on about some people may dominate the meeting, and this allows other people publicly to speak. So that's what I just want to say.
Okay, if you could lower your hand, you too, Rich, and then Yahe Obid.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with this. We want efficient meetings that are focused on community board business. Sometimes it goes all over the place. In one leadership meeting, I remember we spent 28 minutes on one member of the public, which I don't see it as a waste of time, but I want us to remain focused on community business.
Anyone else? Any other discussion? Anyone opposed to this motion?
I'm opposed, so I'll vote nay.
Okay, so one against. Any others? Any other members?
I'm opposed to this.
So 2 against. Any abstentions? Well,
I'm actually opposed. And this is only for committee meetings you're talking about, correct?
Yes. Yes.
So you want me
I'm
to do the
opposed.
motion again? Just clear again. I'm getting feedback.
Please mute yourself. Thank you. So the motion carries.
Okay.
The next motion is a motion. We have money to spend, and one of the things that was brought up is we made a motion to purchase equipment to record meetings of the community board, which can be done in the community board, which can be done in the office. This would be done at the office and at your community board meeting. So if you have a committee meeting, it will be on camera, so that the public will be able to see the meeting, and you will be able to review anything that was done at that meeting personally. So I think, Jeremy, you looked into that equipment. Would you give us?
So we had a couple meetings about this stuff last week as well as last month. We looked at 2 recording companies. The second one, which came in much lower price, they actually showed up for Joe Thompson's Economic Development Committee meeting. That is not that, although it's a good recording, it's not. It's better than that. So this would be a setup for the office. This would be to take care of committee meetings. And remember, you don't have to record your meeting, but I know certain committee chairs very much like having a recording they can refer to. And so the idea is that there'll be 4 drop mics from the ceiling over the table, and there will be one. Everybody, please stay muted. Please, if Janice, please *6. Stay muted, please. So there'll be 4 drop mics in the middle of the table at the community board office, and there'll be 2 cameras, and there will be 1 roving mic. This will be a permanent fixture or setup, which is optional, right? No, we're not required to record. I think if we have a hybrid meeting, if we do approve hybrid meetings, I think we would legally have to record that. But it's 2 cameras. One would be for those of you who are familiar with the community board office. I know not everybody is, but there's a camera that would be by the door facing the chair of the committee, and the other one by the closet facing the other table. And yeah, we have the money, use it or lose it, is how the city budget works. We have to June 30th to spend it, which is really not enough time. I mean, this just came last minute. It wasn't planned. but I think it's a great use of our resources. Anybody have other comments, questions? Al?
Any other discussion? All right, the motion was made that we purchase this equipment for the office, for committee meetings. Do I have anybody opposed? Any abstentions?
Who's going to be running it?
Abstentions?
Who's going to be running it?
Well, we'll be trained. We'll be trained. People that wish to be trained can come to the office and we'll get training on it. If not, I guess somebody, one of the office staff will be able to do that for us.
So staff will be trained, right? Chris and I tend to Chris and I generally attend committee meetings. We'll be trained, but the company has trained committee members of another committee board before. So, and there are 2 cameras. Basically, it's just controlling 2 cameras if you want. You could just leave one camera roll for the entire meeting. If you don't want to, there's a joystick to control both cameras. Any other questions, Debbie?
I think the motion carried unanimously.
Okay.
Jeremy, can I see the agenda for a second again, please?
Yeah. So left is newsletter as well as the open meetings law amendment.
Right. The other thing that was brought up and is that that a newsletter be sent out once a month by the office staff, so that the community and people on the board know what was being done that month, because too many people are critical of the board, of the office, that people aren't doing anything and no one does anything. I think that if the newsletter went out once a month, people would be aware of some of the things we do. It's, we sit here and we take criticism and we don't brag about the things we do. We have 38 members now that are active. We'll end up with hopefully 50. These are people that volunteer their services. They come here in the evenings. They come here and whenever they need to be at a committee meeting. They do that without a gripe. They do it, pretty well as far as I'm concerned. One of the questions one of the things I wanted to say also, I know someone brought up the fact that committee meetings should meet more often, or there shouldn't be a rule where it says that a committee shouldn't meet if there is nothing to discuss. These people are volunteers. They come out in the evenings. They give of their time. There's no reason to have them leave their homes and come out of their away from their families if there's nothing for them to do. If there's just to sit at a meeting to say, well, we had a meeting a month, it doesn't serve any purpose. I mean, we have people, we should have enough confidence in the people that are sitting on this board to know if they think there's something serious to discuss, they will call a meeting and they will do what needs to be done. So, again, I want to thank everybody for their diligence in coming to meetings, They work hard. The reason for the newsletter is to let people know that we're not just sitting on our hands. People are doing a lot of things, sometimes behind the scenes, without people knowing it. And I think I just thought it would be a good idea to basically broadcast that and let people know. know.
Debbie, can you stay muted, please? Unless are you gonna talk now? Do you have a question? Are you gonna talk now? Do you have a question?
Yeah, I'm still for kind of combining meetings, like say sanitation and transportation, or transportation and parks, or something like that, because a lot of times I'll bring up something in one and it's like, oh no, it should be for the other. And I know other community boards, they have what they're calling municipality, and it's like those 2 or 3 together, and this way the problem is addressed accordingly.
Yeah, Debbie, you're straying from the motion. That's not, and that's something that's up for discussion, and we can discuss that at a later time. But right now,
Right. And that's the thing. I keep on bringing it up, and every time it's like later discussion. It's now June. How much later?
But Debbie,
I've been bringing it up for months.
We have a motion.
I've been bringing it up for months.
Why don't you bring it up under new business? And I'm just saying this is not the time since we're right in the middle of the time since we're right in the middle.
I have brought it up in new business before, and it keeps on getting swept along.
I think, hold on. I think this was discussed at the bylaws committee. If David Levitt is here, I think he will recall there was a suggestion from a board member to combine the public safety and sanitation committees. I don't think that was really considered at the time. I don't know if you want to anybody wants to revisit the issue, but I do believe it was discussed at one time.
I think it's something, if Debbie is really feels that we should put her on the agenda and bring it up for discussion at our next meeting. This way it'll be fully discussed by all the members of the board, and it gives them time to think about it. And at our next meeting, we'll put her on the agenda.
Well, maybe it should be a small meeting like the leadership committee versus the full board, Al.
That could be fine. I mean, I want to give Debbie a chance to, air her concerns and something that we can discuss. And before I move on to the next, I just want to make I just want to make one more observation. I know it's been said a number of times that I picked and choose the nominating committee. The job of the chair is to pick the nominating committee. I picked people that were on a board for a long period of time, and they're nominated. They weren't told to nominate anyone. I wasn't asked. I didn't ask anyone to nominate me. That was the job of the committee. But it's my job as chair of the board to choose a nominating committee. I just want to let everybody know that, so it's not, it's not a under the table type of thing. All right, I'm done, Jeremy.
Yeah, no, it's a good point, Al. And just so everyone's clear, our nominations were done in public. The nominating committee did not meet in private. Anything that was done at the full board meeting. And if somebody discussed something with some individual privately, we don't know of that.
Hi, was there a motion on the floor?
No, Al, I think you want to make a motion that we look into creating a newsletter.
Yeah, I thought he made a motion.
I don't think he actually made the motion. I think he talked about the idea.
Sorry, I got sidetracked. I will make the motion. Thank you for bringing me back to reality. I make a motion that we have a newsletter sent out once a month. Can I get a second?
I second it.
I second it.
Any discussion?
Okay. Yeah, Al, I just want everyone to be realistic that we will. I think it's a worthy endeavor. Don't expect to happen overnight, because I've already had Harriet look into it, and we can go into the details if you really want to.
Absolutely, it's something that has, hopefully we'll begin in September or October. This way we have the summer to figure it out and iron out the bugs.
Can I make a suggestion? Until the newsletter sort of becomes a process and it can be sent out once a month, have it started once every 2 months. Get it started once every 2 months. Once the process gets to be
Quarterly.
successful in the information getting to the board, the information being put down, and it being done digital. I don't know if it's going to be done on printed also. I would hope so, because not everybody, like we always have the challenge, not everybody is online. So I think that's a suggestion to take off some of the pressure.
That's fine, Bernadette. In other words, you want to start slow, but you want to eventually have it done properly. And this way we can iron out the bugs as we go along.
Yes.
The motion is just that we have a newsletter. How we put it into, how we get it done, we can work that out as we go along.
Yeah.
That's a good suggestion.
And if anybody has, because I know some other community boards do this, and this is what I had Harriet look into. I had to reach out to my colleague at CB11 in Manhattan and 10 in Brooklyn, and they do theirs through their website, which is not a NewYorkCity.gov website. So if you're familiar with any of these other community boards that may do a newsletter, feel free to make a suggestion. Tell me what you like about it, what you don't like about it, so we can learn from them and not necessarily recreate the wheel.
I'll reach out to Community Board 9 with William Rivera, since I have his newsletter, etc., and just pick his brain.
And it's a good idea to evaluate it as we go along, what we need more of, what we need less of. You don't want something just to be hit the main points I don't want it to turn into a toil, a job that's very, very tiresome, and cumbersome. I just would like
Yeah.
something that would get the word out to the community that, certain things are being done by the board.
It could just be a front and back. It could just start as a front and back
Absolutely.
newsletter and then work its way into a 4-pager and, then become a mailer, which, leave a space for the
Well,
mailer.
as you said, Bernadette, it'll be trial and error. We'll try it, see how
Yes.
it goes, and we'll tweak it as we go along until we get a product that we all can, live with.
And then just a point of order for everyone. I did see a member of the public with their hand raised. We, for members of the public to speak tonight, you register in advance of the meeting. But if there's anything in specific we need to go over, you can always reach out to the Community Board 11 staff, and we can try to handle whatever concerns or questions or comments you want to make.
And Jeremy, on that line, if the public has any suggestions, just send them into the office. We'll take them under advisement, because we sometimes it's the more heads, the better the outcome.
Jeremy, I have a question. This is Chris.
Yeah.
This newsletter, what's going to consist of? I mean, because on all the committee reports, all committee motions, all the board issues that are brought up, basically it's like let's say half of what we do. So
yeah,
the
so
other half is going to be like what? I mean, description that I got 30 phone calls about potholes.
No. So ideally, some people are, I think most board members are aware by now. I'll ask Harriet or Chris to email the public this information. And if we have a centralized way of doing that, that's ideally, Al, what I want to see happen. I want this newsletter to be not, Chris's public, not his email distribution list. If we retain some type of maybe contract with the company where we can do it a little bit more professional looking, and to be simple, just put out what meetings are for the week or for the month or whatever, versus just, having our calendar. So
that's fine. But, as Chris said, I think, I don't expect you to put down, we had a pothole here, a pothole there, but the fact that you might say we had 10 potholes taken care of, it shows that, that we're getting things done.
Yeah.
It lets people know that, the office is viable and it is working. We are getting too much criticism. People, that.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. We're getting criticism that 3 or 4 people criticizing nonstop. Yet again, we have a bunch of people send us emails thanking us. We have a bunch of letters. We have newspapers. Can we put those in so at least we can balance all this negativity toward Community Board 11?
I think that's a nice idea.
As you said, there's only a few people that always have an axe to grind, but that's going to be in every walk of life and in every business. It's something that we have to live with. People have a right to voice their complaints and their opinions, and we have to respect that right. But
no, you're twisting. Everything is twisted. I'm not complaining about. Everybody can criticize, fine, but it has to have base. You got to criticize with base or back it up. That's about it. It has nothing to do about somebody gets up and, like you said, gripe. I have a gripe with Chris. I'm going to start criticizing him. That doesn't work.
I mean,
go ahead.
Yeah, if someone has a gripe, they have a gripe, but I mean, there's always room to improve. So I think newsletter is a good idea, but also I do think that we should utilize our social medias a lot more. When we have town halls, we advertise it through there, and we encourage the public to check our social medias for news updates on meetings, things like that. I think that also eliminates the complaint that we're not communicating when we're having meetings and stuff like that. So I definitely agree with that idea that Al suggested, and I also agree with what Bernadette said, and I also think that we should use social medias to, to widen our scope and widen our reach to other people.
Long story short, you're in favor of that idea. Okay. So, Al, you want to call for a vote?
The motion is that we have a newsletter that goes out to the public. I'll leave it at that rather than say monthly, and this way we can work it into however we see fit down the road. So that the motion is that we have a newsletter that be sent out to the public. Okay, I got a second?
Second.
I second.
Second.
So,
Any-
Bernadette,
Anyone opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries unanimously. All right, I spent more time than I did for a whole year on this stuff. Go ahead.
so open meetings law amendment, Al, we did have a public hearing at 6 o'clock. I know some members of the board are interested in allowing for hybrid meetings. I don't know if you want to discuss that, but I think now is the time. Yeah, hey, Veronica, I know I had technical issues. Tiz was in that public hearing. Do you want to I think Yahe, since you're the vice chair, maybe you could, well, you had technical issues too. Veronica, do you want to talk? You were there for the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
You're breaking up on us.
So, hold on.
Yeah, Veronica's breaking up.
Yeah, we can't hear Veronica anymore. Yeah, hey, you haven't
Can you hear me
enough
better?
information. Yeah, now we do.
There she goes. Okay, I was gonna speak, but go ahead, Veronica. You were running the meeting.
No, you could go ahead, Yahay, because I think my connection may go out again.
Okay, so we had the public hearing, and it was good. I missed the first portion of it when they held the public section. I had the technical difficulties, and I had to restart my phone. But it was I dialed in 10 minutes late, and what I gathered from that from the hearing was that we do want the hybrid option. Now, if we do the hybrid option, we also want it to not affect or impact the quorum, because the quorum does not count. If you dial in hybrid, you don't count towards the quorum. And let's say 15 people dial in hybrid, 20 people are in attendance in person, and 15 members are absent. So then we don't have a quorum, but then we have 20 members of the board that are sitting there and members of the public, and we're not going to be able to have an official meeting and vote. So we're looking to balance it where we understand everybody's got an emergency, everybody gets sick, everybody has childcare issues, everybody has work issues, everybody has car problems. So we were looking for a way to balance it. So what it comes down to is for us to be able to hold the hybrid meetings, we have to come to an agreement and have a resolution that states that, then we can proceed with the hybrid meetings. So that's the outcome of that. Just wanted more input. I was hoping for more people to join the public hearing, so we have more input there. But that's pretty much it.
So Tiz, since you don't have any issues, hopefully technologically, anything else in terms of the public, not just board members, to add?
No, not really. Most were in favor of the hybrid. And I think we threw around 2 or 3 times that a board member can go hybrid instead of being in person. So we're going to limit the amount of times, considering it doesn't count towards a quorum.
Yeah, the other thing was with the issue with the quorum, it's not something that the community board is themselves putting in, it's part of a law. So we can't actually change that. If you're not in person, you do not count as part of the quorum. I know that the public was in favor of it. Some would also like to, I think they mentioned that they're in favor of the people that are remote to have their faces shown. So that way they can ensure that the people are actually there at the meetings. I think that's everything though.
Yeah.
Veronica, if I may say something.
Go right ahead.
We said that if there was a quorum with in-person people, that the people on the hybrid or at home on the video will have a chance to vote and their vote will count. And I think that's an important thing to remember.
Yes, Sandy, you're correct, that their vote would count. I don't think that was an issue though. I think if you're on the phone, you are able to vote. It's just the issue really is about having a quorum. You have to be in person in order to be counted as part of the quorum.
Veronica, this is Ellie.
Hi, Ellie.
Hi. I think that's problematic. if you can't count the people on the phone as part of quorum, I think you're going to run into problems because you're putting the gist of the importance of a quorum on the people there physically, and some of those folks may not be able to be there. So it seems to me if you're going to vote on something where it goes to quorum, either you have to decide if calling in is going to be allowed or not. I don't think you can have a mix of it. Either if they're going to call in, you have to give them the right to be part of the quorum.
So just to clarify what we talked about before and what Veronica was trying to say is this is state law. If you want to change that quorum issue, you got to get the state legislature and the governor's office to go along with it. So if I share the, hold on.
But that's my point. If you can't change it, then we're talking about something that we can't really enforce. Can't do.
It's like a moot point then.
No.
Exactly.
So the idea is, you know, God forbid, Ellie, this 1 month, you really need to be mean, but you obviously in your car right now, so you need to video call in. It's for that exception. And I know someone like Yahe is concerned that that exception could be abused. I know, I'm not sure. We'll see how that plays out, but it's this or nothing. That's really what the state is, I think, unfairly given us after 2 years of doing this, is that, you know, go back to the way it used to be, or here's a little bit you can do. That's the really two options.
Therefore, you have to take the risk that you may not have quorum.
If we do it.
Yep. That's the risk you take.
Now, Jeremy, can I, help me out here? So if someone shows up at a meeting by videoing, by showing their face and everything,
right,
they can vote, right? They're allowed to vote.
Yeah, the state. Let me just share real quickly.
If there's a
That's what I thought I read.
No, oral. What he's saying is, yes, if we show up with a video, but you would still need the quorum to be physically present. But we could vote.
But you can vote, yeah.
After the quorum has been met. And I don't know why the state rules should apply to city rules. Why can't the city come up with its own rules?
Well, we could. We can make it more narrow. We could make it more narrow, but yeah, I mean, right here, I'm sharing this. If everybody can see my screen, this comes from the State Committee on Open Government. They regulate public bodies in this regard, and here's the language here. I could share it with. I mean, I think I already shared this with the board. Yes, I did. I shared this with the board yesterday. And I asked that Harriet forward it on to the public, or Chris forward on the public. Chris was out, so Harriet, I think, did it today. So yeah, I mean, this is you have to have a quorum physically present at all times in order to do this.
All right, Jeremy, if I can just interject. So it's cut and dry. It's very simple. According to the law, we have to have a quorum counted by the people that are present. People that are virtual may vote, but the people must be present to have a quorum. I think Yahe pointed out that you have if you set up a rule where you can only allow certain virtual meetings. This way, we'll make sure we have a quorum. Because if you take, let's say 2 out of 10 or 5, whatever you people decide, 2 out of 10, 3 out of 10 that you can do virtually, that means the other 7 times you have to be there. So this way, at least the chances are pretty good that we're going to have a quorum each time.
Yeah, and
Jeremy.
The what? Go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I suggested, that you're allowed to do 2 hybrid meetings.
No, 2 is too short. I'm sorry.
I understand. But 2 hybrid meetings, and you're allowed to be absent twice without it, starting to impact you or cause you for removal. So that's like 40% of the meetings right there. We don't want to go over the majority. Then we might not have the majority in an in-person meeting.
Well, the other thing we could do is we could test it out in September and see if we actually need to make it more restricted, right?
Also, there may be members who just want to be there in person all the time. Oh, you never know.
The other thing too with the state, is that you. Is everybody muted? Because I'm getting feedback. I muted everybody. So you have to be very clear on why. You can't just willy-nilly say, "Oh, I just feel like doing remote." You have to have specific reasons, whether it's a disability or childcare issues. And the way, so that website I showed you from the state has had a model resolution, which is what, to make this happen, you have to vote on a resolution. So they have a model resolution and then model procedures. And I just copied and pasted from the state, inserted where appropriate, Community Board 11. And you have to, the one option is who you want to designate be notified. I just, to make it easier versus the full board or committee chair, I just said the board office. And the state already said, notify them 4 days in advance. If you know for a fact, I'm going to be on vacation this month and I can't be at the meeting, but I really want to. It's really important that I'm there, but whatever the reason is, 4 days, we could change that number, or we could just see how this goes in September. And if we have to make it more restrictive, we do run into quorum issues. I kind of will be surprised at this point. I think most people want to see each other in person, but 4 days, board office. And if it's after that, say you're sick all of a sudden within the 4 days, that's still allowed, but you have to be clear. You have to be, and it should be done in writing. Like, for example, a lot of board members, they'll contact me, they'll text me or whatever, but ideally you send me an email so I don't lose track of it. Or whoever. You can designate whoever you want out.
May I ask a question with regards to September and moving forward? Do we have a definite yes or a definite place where we are going to be meeting in person? Has that been discussed? And I apologize if that's been talked about.
No, that's a great question. Obviously, committee meetings, especially if they're small, the community board office, we have the system set in place for that to do hybrid. The full board meeting most likely would be at Maestro's. There's hope that Einstein will open back up. I would not hold your breath on that.
Okay.
So Jeremy, will you be requiring confirmation that a board member will be attending to ensure that you're going to have a quorum in case other people call in?
So again, let me just look at what the state said.
I'm saying what we would want. I'm saying to make this work, why can't the community board just say to the board members, please confirm that you will be attending live?
That's a good idea.
Like a trigger system. That's a good idea.
Well, so remember, the idea is that if you're not going to attend, you notify us in advance. But yeah, we could do that.
I think Ellie is right on the money. I think that's perfect.
So right now, the draft from the state, 4 days prior to we could do it how long you want. It's up to you guys. Yeah, we can. I mean, usually when we know we need a quorum, like things are gonna be tight in the past, we'll call everybody. We'll I don't think
Jeremy, Ellie's right. If you have a something sent out by email, a couple of days before, will you be attending the meeting live? And people say yes, you'll know ahead of time that you have a quorum. And if you don't have a quorum, then you start calling people and say, "Look, we need you to come to the meeting."
Yeah, usually when people start calling, we know we have a quorum issue when people reach out to us. If they don't reach out to us too late, yeah, I don't see a problem with that. Okay.
So let me get this straight. If you have X amount of people in person, you meet that threshold, then the people that are virtual can vote. But if you don't have the proper number of in person, the people that are virtual can.
Nobody can vote.
No one could vote. That you need the quorum. If you have the quorum and the people have made a commitment by sending a text or whatever saying I will be at the meeting, then the people virtually can vote. The people virtually.
That's what I'm asking. That
That's
is what I'm
fine.
asking.
Let me
now
see
you
if I
just-
can clarify. Let me see if
you
I
just-
can clarify it simply. If there are
Andy,
20,
without a quorum, we can't have a meeting.
excuse me, let me
So we
finish.
need to have a quorum.
If, in other words, if we have 20, that'd be if we have 20, if you have 20 board members and 11 are present, we can have a meeting. If there are less than 11, we can't have a meeting and no one can vote. So you need a quorum to be present. So if you have 20 members of the board, 11 have to be there in person for the meeting to count. For the meeting to count. More than, you're one more
And
than half.
when you have the,
You're one more than half.
when you have, all right, right. So when you have that quorum in person, the ones that are virtual, the ones that are hybriding or virtual, whatever you want to refer to it as,
Yes.
their votes do count?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's
And
state law.
but if I may,
If we
what
approve
Elliot
it.
said about making a commitment where they've signed in, they're sending you a text or an email. I will want to be there in person, so you will know beforehand if you have that quorum.
Also, anybody who is virtual has to be seen, as it
Right.
states. They cannot, they have to be visibly,
On the
video's
video.
got to be on.
You have to have
Yeah.
your cameras on.
Yeah, they can't call in without a picture. I mean, obviously,
You have to have your
call in-
camera on, not just a picture on your, on your
Camera.
over your name. You have to have your camera on. Yes.
The video. That's what it
Video.
is.
Yes, a video. Thank you, Sandra.
You're welcome.
And this will also, we have to allow the public to attend remotely too. So that, but, you know, I think that's a win too. Because I know there are members of the public that actually like a virtual option.
Well, yeah, it sounds like this is an idea that folks want, but we have to come up with a way to make sure it works. Simple as that.
Yeah. Right. Right.
And as Al concluded, if we don't have a quorum, it doesn't work regardless of whether we do hybrid or not.
Yeah, and Ellie, I do like your idea about setting out and making sure that we will have a quorum to, you know, and just in case, Jeremy, so we can start calling people and finding out they can, you know, they can make sure that they'll be there.
And then
We have to try to do what we can to make it work.
Yeah.
And then remember, every board member is responsible for, if they know something come up, tell us right away.
Yeah, but sometimes people, you know, may be busy or whatever, and so you catch them by knowing you're not having a quorum. You say, listen.
Yeah.
You know,
The first meeting until people get the hang of it.
Yeah,
I'm sure there'll be board members. I'm sure there'll be board members in September that think we're still meeting remotely.
Yes, exactly.
No, I know.
Thank you, Jeremy.
I've already dealt with that.
Jeremy?
Yes, Tom.
It's Tom Lucania. How are you?
Yeah.
Just one quick note, just to remind folks that this also goes for committee meetings, and so you'll have
The same rule. The same rule, Tom, for committee.
right.
Yes.
Since you're right, same rule. So you'll have to do similar to what Ellie has talked about, and to ensure that your in-person members form that quorum. So it goes for both full board meetings and in person. And then the remote option, if you choose that, does require then for the public to be able to participate. And if someone, for instance, chose to come in on remote and is wants to speak at the gallery session, that person has to be allowed to speak from virtually.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's going to be a problem a little bit.
Yeah. So that is
Because
clear.
how are we gonna notify the public?
Notify the public by posting this resolution, if it's passed, on your website, so the public will know how the board is going to operate beginning in September.
No, I got that part.
Okay.
The part that I don't get is this. You're saying that we have to notify the board members.
Correct.
So that they can let us know if they're gonna make it physically or not.
Correct.
And if not, it's gonna be a hybrid. But how long before?
No. Your agenda will indicate that it's hybrid. So when you post your agendas, it will indicate that the meeting is hybrid, and here is the link in order to participate virtually, just like you do now.
It'll be just like now, Chris, except for we have to have a physical person or
have a
quorum present.
physical piece to it.
But that's where the confusion is, because you're saying physical quorum present. And if it's physical quorum present, that it's not hybrid.
Yes, it is. Since you're passing a resolution that says you're going to have a hybrid meeting, then you have to have a hybrid meeting, even if there's a quorum present at the physical location.
Yeah, so I don't know what the confusion is, Chris. It's basically like we do now, except for we allow the public as well as members with valid excuses to join remotely, as long as we have a quorum present. So, for example, the Economic Development Committee, I think it's 6 committee members. You need half plus 1 present. And then if 1 or 2 of them wants to join remotely, as long as it's a valid reason, that's it, in the public.
Okay, Chris, look at it this way. You have a certain amount of board members that represent Community Board 7. Of those members, how many have to be present to form a quorum? Once you have that number, the rest can be remote. That's how
But you also have to remember, Ellie, that the legislation specifically says extraordinary circumstances. This is not something for somebody who just wants to stay home.
Exactly.
It's something that has to be balanced.
Like Tommy, if I get COVID, but I'm asymptomatic, I can call in.
Right, of course.
Exactly.
I mean, health reasons, family reasons, emergencies, but just the fact that you got home a little late, you're tired, that doesn't fall into the category, as Jeremy has explained very well, that there are particular circumstances which allow it. Now, who's going to say no to somebody? I don't think anybody's going to say no to somebody, but I think as board members, your responsibility is to use it carefully and as not as often as you may want to.
I was just addressing Chris when he said if you're requiring live to have quorum, how is that hybrid? So I was giving an example of how many you need for quorum, and then the remainder could be a hybrid. Doesn't mean they will qualify to be a hybrid, but that's the number I'm talking about, Chris.
Correct.
Yes.
No, I got that part. But it's like Tom said, not to get abused, because if we're gonna have a full board, we're gonna be physically there. All these people coming from jobs and things like that, and somebody just because cannot make it, it's gonna consider it. I don't think it's
No,
Chris, I think
let's put some faith in some people. They'll make it.
Jeremy's point, and it's been done elsewhere. Jeremy's point to say that if you know for some reason you're not going to be at that board meeting, you should have a time frame before the board meeting, a day or two or whatever the number is, to call in and say, I won't be able to be there in person. I'm requesting the ability to be hybrid. And
to that point, let me make a quick comment. To that point, we've been having virtual
meetings. And then Yahe, because Yahe has his hand raised.
Yeah, real quick. We've been having virtual meetings for a while now. It's still very difficult for us to get quorum. So I think in September, it's going to be either we try it or we don't, and we need to figure it out because it's hard enough now to get quorum. Okay.
But the option is that you don't do remote and you simply go back to doing what you did before, where there's no hybrid requirement. Your meetings are in person. So there's your option. Your meetings are in person. The board seems to want some sort of a hybrid option to allow for people who may not still be ready to go back in person, and that's understandable, and the public. But the option is you don't do hybrid at all and you go back in person.
And if you want the hybrid to work, and then you'll make your best effort.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, Tom, I just want to clarify something that I didn't understand it before, but now I'm looking at it differently. You're saying the people that are attending virtually during this hybrid meeting, once we have a quorum, they can vote? They're allowed to vote? I thought they were not allowed to vote.
Of course.
No, they can vote.
Once the quorum is met in your physical location, those members that are those members that are virtual are then allowed to vote. They cannot, as it's been said a number of times, they cannot be counted towards the quorum to establish the quorum for the meeting. The quorum for the meeting has to be established by the people that are present in the physical location.
But they can participate and vote.
Correct. Correct. Once
As long
that
as they
quorum
as
is
long
met.
as they have their video on. Obviously, there'll be exceptions where people step away to go to the bathroom.
Think,
You have your hand up?
I think, just to cut to the quick, I think we should assume that all our meetings from now on will be in person. Unless there is extenuating circumstances and you call in and say, I can join virtually, I can't be there in person. So if we all take that tack that we're all going to be there in person, if an extenuating circumstance comes up, just let Jeremy know that you're not going to attend, you're going to attend virtually. This way you'll still have a right to vote. But as Tom said, we can always go back and say, look, from now on, we're going to do all our meetings in person. So let's assume we're going to be there in person unless there's an extenuating circumstance. And that sort of makes it fairly easy, I would think.
Do we have the means of communications when it comes to that? I.e., we're going to Einstein.
Yeah, the full board will be a challenge. We will have to rely on the recording company.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, for committee, I think it will work. I don't know if full
Committee is
board,
fine
can't
because we
guarantee
have the cameras already that were the motion passed. I'm talking about the general board. That's going to be a.
Yeah, I mean, look, if it doesn't work for a board member, it can't work at all, right? And then, at least we have the option. Whereas if we don't vote on this and approve it, you don't have any option. Hazel, you had your hand up. I'm sorry, Hazel.
Yeah, thank you. I had it up for a while. I think Chris may have answered this, but the committees are now going to meet at the office, right?
Oh, you're not required to meet at the office. And if you're like you're a member of the public safety, I know in the past I've recommended you do rotate your meetings, like you meet at the precinct, get people
wherever we go to the precinct, we go to
in person.
My question is, what kind of a setup are we going to have that people can remotely, attend the meeting?
Yeah, if we know in advance we can't swing it, we can try to swing it. Doesn't guarantee, it's just, the vote on this is just to have the option. Whether we actually take advantage of it is another story.
Okay.
Al, anything else?
That's it.
May I say something quick? With regards to hybrid meetings, I'm just giving an example. I know at the Morris Park bid in the past, we've had in person, and then we've had, you have to have, unless you have a different setup, there's one person that has to deal with a laptop computer, somebody that is dedicated just to that, to allow for the hybrid part of it, unless there is something else that gets set up. So if it's going to be a full board meeting over at Lou Ballin Hall, if we go there and we don't have the setup that we have for the committee meetings at the board meeting, there has to be a designated person with a laptop dealing with the hybrid.
If we stick with the 4-day notice by the state, if no member notifies us that they're going to join remotely, we don't have to do it. You have to give the public advance notice. You can't just willy-nilly at the last minute do a hybrid. Right, Tom? Tom, you still here?
That's correct.
Okay. So
I did do a draft resolution based on I modeled off the state. I did send it to the whole board yesterday. It was sent to the public today. It was published on the website yesterday. So, in case anybody wants to be concerned about the 24-hour requirement, it is published yesterday on the Community Board 11 website. Anybody have any questions about that? Again, it's just basically modeled off the state.
I saw it. I read it. Saw it.
Okay.
What happens if we find out it doesn't work? What happens if we
don't do it? We don't do it.
Even though we pass a resolution.
It's fine. We have the option.
The resolution is that we get the resolution is that we get the option.
Thank you.
I attended the Metro North hybrid meeting yesterday. I was in person and I saw it was a very big problem with the hybrid part. It was broken links and stuff like that. And people had a hard time getting into the meeting. So I see that part as a problem.
Yeah, I expect, like the very beginning of remote meetings, there were a lot of problems in the beginning. A lot of people weren't happy, but we got through it, right? I feel like it's gonna be something similar. How many board members did I individually train for these meetings? I didn't get overtime for it, to my knowledge.
Oh, well,
That's a joke. Laugh. All right. So, does anybody want to make a motion on this subject?
I mean, to have the option of having the option of
drafted
having
it?
remote is good, I think. If it doesn't work out, we don't do it, but we still have the option of having
Well,
it.
we're trying our best, so.
I know.
I make a motion, if I may, that we have hybrid meetings, or at least try to have hybrid meetings.
I second that motion.
Okay, Jeremy, you have it, Jeremy. You can vote.
Well, that's a second. So we're gonna vote to approve a resolution to conduct hybrid meetings on a emergency basis for the members of the board as well as the public, based on the state law, right?
Based on the state law, yes.
So any objections or against? So if not, it's unanimous. Okay.
Oh, wait a minute, Jeremy, one quick question. Do we
Yeah.
have a limit on the number? Like 3?
We haven't done that yet. If you want to make an additional motion, I say, I know or somebody, I know you're concerned about abuse, but I don't know if it's really going to be necessary. I really don't. I say, like
All right,
Ellie says, we do our best to
we
make
could
it work.
always come back.
Let's give people the credit for being responsible and coming to meetings. Let's not start assuming that people are going to take advantage of this already. Again, these are volunteers and they're giving their time.
Agreed, Al. Agreed.
sure
We
that's not
do
gonna
it
be
right
a
now, so getting right. I agree with that, Al.
I agree.
Okay.
We're mature adults here. Come on now.
Can we move on? Can we move on?
So, yep, it's unanimous, right?
Right, we voted.
All right, let me go back to the agenda. So that's it for your report, Al?
That's it.
Okay, I got a big shovel. What is this going on? Okay. Can everybody see the agenda?
Yeah, you have a little gray areas, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Let me.
What are those gray areas, Jeremy?
I don't know. Let me stop sharing.
Okay.
Make sure I have a few things up. Oh, I think I pulled this up. Let me just close this. I got too many things running in the background.
I see.
I think we're up to the treasurer's report.
Well, my report, I did publish it. I did email the board. Oh yeah. No, it's not me yet. All right, treasurer's report, Veronica. Sorry. Go ahead, Al, or Veronica.
Hi, the May and June treasurer's reports have been submitted to the board and they will be sent out to the board office and they will be sent out to the board members. When you get them, if you have any questions, please just reach out to me.
Thank you, Valerie.
Veronica.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
Veronica, I'm sorry.
That's all right. It happens.
It's with a V. Sorry
Yep.
about that, Veronica.
It happens. Hazel, secretary's report.
Okay. Hi, everybody.
Hey, Hazel.
So I know that the minutes were emailed to everybody because I got my copy.
Right.
Everybody had a chance to review them.
Mm-hmm.
And
I found an error that it was supposed to meet on June 3rd and it's supposed to be June 1st. That's it, because we meet the first Wednesday of the month.
Okay, so we can easily correct. Hazel?
okay, so great. So I make a motion to accept the minutes of the May 26, 2022 full board meeting.
I second it with the correction given by Bernadette.
Thank you, Sandy.
You're welcome.
Do we have any other discussions? Any objections?
No.
Any abstentions? So the motion carried. Thank you so much.
Okay, so unless there's anything else for Hazel, just again, my report was published. I'm sure there's more that's I could be added to it, but the biggest thing is I put everybody. I got a few people reach out to me about the candidate statements or people running for board officer position tonight. I just put all the statements there for everybody to see. It's on our website, public board member. You should have hopefully looked at them all by now because they're emailed out before today. Unless there's questions, we'll just go into committee reports because we got still quite a few things to vote on.
I'm sorry, the link to the district manager report is broken and it was not emailed to me.
Okay,
That's it.
So any board members, any kind of questions, comments? If not, committee reports, bylaws. David Levitt.
Good evening. The Bylaws Committee met in May, and at last month's meeting, I presented 3 changes to the board's bylaws. One is a technical change, considering the date of a person's removal to be considered from July 1 to June 30th instead of September 1 to June 30th. The second change was to remove the requirement that 5 total non-excused absences from committee meetings would be a cause for removal from the board. And third, the most substantive change was to not require standing committees to meet each month between September and June. And last month there were questions and there was some discussion about that. Our bylaws require that these proposed changes be presented in 2 consecutive months. So this is the second month that these changes are being presented. I can answer any questions before we take a vote on these proposed changes. Are there any questions or comments or discussion? The motion is on the floor, and it does not require a second because it came out of committee. This is the last chance for anyone to ask questions or to make comments or to discuss before we take a vote. Oh, okay, so hearing no questions or discussion, I'll call for a vote. All those who are against the motion, is there anyone against the motion? Is there anyone who is abstaining? If there's no one against and no one abstaining, then we'll mark it down as a unanimous change. Everyone attending the meeting is voting unanimously to make these changes to the bylaws.
Yes.
Could you repeat the change, please, just for the record?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Could you repeat the change for the record, please?
Who is speaking?
Richard Reynoso.
Okay, the changes are on the bylaws committee in the minutes. Jeremy, can you bring them up on the screen? I think it'll be a lot easier than for me to read each of the changes, which some of them are quite technical.
You don't have to. All I'm asking you is for the overall picture of the change. That's it.
Okay, the picture of the changes falls this way. The most substantive change is to change the bylaws so that standing committees of the board do not have to meet each month between September and June. So the language would now say, quote, standing committees shall meet only when they have business to conduct or when the committee chairperson determines that there is a need to discuss items of importance to the community, close quote. That's the biggest change. The second change has to do with the requirements for consideration for removal from the board. So currently, 3 non-excused consecutive absences or 5 total non-excused absences from committee meetings are grounds for removal from the board. So we struck the word consecutive absences and we struck 5 total. So now it reads 3 non-excused absences from committee meetings will be grounds for removal from the board. The last change is a technical one, and that is that removal from the board is consideration for missing meetings that take place between July 1 and June 30th. Previously, it was meetings that took place between September 1 and June 30th. Those are all the changes.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
You're welcome.
Thank you, David.
All right. Okay. Thank you. If there's no other questions, then the vote is taken. It's unanimous, and that concludes my report.
So I did get a request. I think John Johnson asked if he could say something. He had to step out and he didn't want to miss his chance. I don't know. It's up to the board to decide how they want to go about that.
He wanted to speak. He wanted to speak about bylaws.
No.
You know, Jeremy, I just wanted to go over my ethics and disciplinary committee briefing, so I have to go. I just wanted to go make my committee report. Just move up if I could.
He just wanted to be front loaded next, if that's possible. Ethics and disciplinary. Okay.
Go ahead,
Go ahead, John.
Great, thanks. The Ethics and Disciplinary Committee met on June 14th at 7:30. One complaint was reviewed by co-chair Naomi Pemberton, since Chair John Johnson was named as one of the multiple people named on the complaint. Ms. Pemberton determined that the complaint did not merit moving forward on it was and it was closed. A letter will be sent to the complainant with a decision and reason for dismissing from the committee. A second complaint came in the same day as the meeting and was tabled so members can review and discuss at the next meeting. Gallery session members presented a myriad of complaints and concerns and made several allegations. They were advised to put their complaints in writing and use the committee as a resource to present the complaint. The committee will advise if the complaint falls in their purview, and if not, the committee will attempt to advise the complainant and provide information on where complainants can file if the information is available to them. That's it, Chairman.
Okay. Is there questions for the Ethics Committee Chair? Let me share this screen again. So then we have the Nominating Elections Committee. Joanne Rubino.
Hi, everybody. Tonight we have elections for Community Board 11 for the positions of chairperson, for vice chairperson, and secretary. The terms for these, all these three positions are July 1st, 2022, 2 years, to June 30th, 2024. The candidates for chairperson are as follows: Bernadette Ferrara and Yahe Obid. For vice chair, the candidate is Al D'Angelo. For secretary, the secretary, the candidate is Hazel Mura. You will have an opportunity to write in a candidate on the ballot. You should have all received the candidate statements as required by our bylaws. You have also received the ballot, at least a draft copy of the ballot. I can review that now. Do you think that's okay, Jeremy? Just to say there are certain things, once you receive these ballot, you're going to send the ballot out shortly. Okay. You have to write in a candidate. It's very important that you write in a candidate. Some people leave it blank. That will be, considered an abstention. You have to put in your full legal name. Okay. Some people, when in the rush, they didn't put any name and we don't know who it is, it will not count. Okay. And also for the, per opinion 9-91 of the New York City Law Department, Community Board 11 must make a record listing each board member's vote available to the public by inclusion in the June 2022 full board meeting minutes. So all your votes will be seen by everyone. Okay. Make sure you mark only one oval for each of these three. And don't forget, you can put in a write-in candidate, but if you put in a write-in candidate, that's the oval that you're going to put in. So are there any questions about this?
What happens if you haven't gotten your ballot yet?
You will get your ballot. Jeremy will be sending out the ballot to everyone.
He's going to do it now.
Yeah, I will do it now. I'm gonna ask Chris, because there's some other things I gotta take care of. Do you want me to share, does everybody want me to share the screen or can?
Share the screen because they can see the ballot that's going to come to them. And
Well, no, I didn't mean that. I meant,
okay,
I meant
sorry.
the agenda for when.
Yeah, share the agenda so at least we can take it one at a time.
So, all right, but Joanne wants me to share the ballot. I
No.
sent her a sample.
Yeah, show the
sample.
ballot, Jeremy, how it's gonna be, so at least it can be visual.
Hold on. What's sharing now? Hold on. I gotta cancel this. Hold on. Okay, so I'm gonna share this now. Just bear with me. Have it. I mean, this is not exactly how it's gonna look. This is gonna be on Google Forms. I mean, it's gonna look like this, but it's not. You're gonna have to. So this is the instructions. Hold on.
Where are you?
Can you see it?
I see it.
Yeah.
So I made it required that you type in your legal full name. That way we know who votes who. If you vote more than once, you're only getting one vote to count. So you got to check the boxes, or when you check other, you can type in a name, you can leave it blank. Like Joanne said, it becomes an ascension. So this is the vote for chairperson. This is question number 2 after you put your name, vice chairperson, secretary. So, and it's very important what Joanne said. We are required to make your vote public as a voting public body. And it won't be made public tonight, how you voted. It'll be made public in the minutes, which will be reviewed in September. I mean, ideally they're done before that, within 2 weeks. Is that clear enough, Joanne?
Yes, that's great.
This is going to be a Google form where you can actually fill it out. This is just a
But it will be
saved
sent
copy.
in an email, correct, Jeremy?
I will send it. I will email everybody right now if everybody's prepared for that.
Yes. Send
Okay,
it.
let's share the agenda, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
So then, unless there's questions for Joanne, Chris is going to take over economic
All right.
development.
Thank you all. Good luck, everybody.
It's really important, Chris, when the meeting is over. So first of all, I corrected this error already. I was able to do that quickly for Golden Corral. But Chris, when you leave the meeting, don't end the meeting. Let me end the meeting, okay?
No problem.
All right. Good luck.
Okay. Okay, next, who's gonna be next? Next is leadership.
Hey, everyone, we did meet. A couple of things came up, mostly economic development. Joe Thompson called for a few motions. So, and they all passed. Joe, if you're on, I'd like you to call the motions on my behalf, because I'm planning on abstaining. Or Al, if you don't mind, calling for a motion for those 3 items.
I don't see anything on my screen, Yai.
It's a gray screen, nothing's there.
All right, hold on. I'm here. I'm still here. Hold on. I don't know why it's not sharing.
But Joe is on. Can he do it?
Yeah, no. I mean, well, it's leadership's committee. I mean, if there's any questions, I think we should just run through it. I mean, this was already voted and discussed. I know some people are upset that we took so long discussing this stuff. Can everybody view my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, so these were all voted on the leadership committee. They didn't have a quorum at economic development. That's why they didn't vote on economic development.
Okay, I understand.
I had a motion to send an email of no objection regarding the following renewal liquor license applications. I lost the screen again, Jeremy.
I second it.
Yeah, I can't, apparently, because I got too many things running, I can't multitask. So I'm just gonna stop sharing the screen.
I'll name them. It's Bronx Corral Group. Let's see here. Eddie Bastone and Patricia's Morris Park Court. Those are the three businesses. You're muted, Al.
Thanks, Yahi. A motion is made to send a letter of no objections to the following places that were mentioned by Yahi. Are there any? Thank you. I have a second.
I second it, Al. Shadow.
Thank you, Shai.
I need a second since, it was already voted.
Oh, that's right.
Any discussion? Any abstentions?
I'm abstaining.
One abstention. I'm assuming anybody against. Unanimous, one abstention. Okay.
Nothing else for leadership, Chris, if you want to go to the next.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Shai.
Now, Education, Culture, and Youth Services, Bernadette?
Yes, hi. I apologize for the confusion with our last meeting, but we actually did have a meeting. And that was on Wednesday, June 8th. It was rescheduled, but there was just some sort of communication issue. So, the only thing I do want to put out there to everybody is to start looking for your nominees now, because we will have to submit those who are eligible between between 14 and 20 with the specific criteria. The memorandum for the Youth Leadership Award should have gone out. I could send it out, ask Jeremy to send it out to everybody again, but please start looking for your nominees. We will have to submit on Friday, October 28th, 2022. So we need to start looking now. And that's about it. And everybody have a great, great summer.
Bernadette, I have a quick question.
Yes.
The winners or the people that are receiving the Yankee Award for this year, have they been sent out to check or waiting for the Yankees to send it out?
If I'm correct, I know that Jeremy.
waiting.
Excuse me?
We're still waiting.
I was gonna say you would have let me know because I keep on asking him.
Yeah, we wanted at least the award recipients to come tonight so we could at least do something for them, because there was no ceremony at the Yankee game, but unfortunately I have nothing to update you on.
Well, in September, I would think by September we will have this all cleared up, and I would, since we are going to be having an in-person, like we used to do, have a group picture with the awards, etc., and make sure in advance we let the families know and the nominees, the honorees know. So we can conclude that and conclude that in September. Is that okay, Jeremy? I don't see any other way.
I wasn't able to fully hear you, but I'm sure that's fine.
Okay.
Is there a timeline for when these kids are going to get the check?
It's up to the Yankees.
This is why on the memorandum, there's this disclaimer that ultimately it's not up to us. Ultimately, it's up to the New York Yankees for everything to happen.
So everybody's in all of the different community boards that have honorees, etc. We're all in the same boat. Nobody's received anything. So we're just in a holding pattern. And I will make sure that all of the people, as soon as I hear something, as soon as Jeremy hears something, I'll make sure the information gets out to everybody ASAP. Thank you.
Bernadette, appreciate it. Thank you. I think we had it already. Health and Social Services.
Oh, yes. One big thing, I'm still waiting to hear about the Stop the Bleed. I asked some questions. The person was on vacation. He should be getting back to me. I'm opening it up to anyone in Community Board 11 who's interested. Please let the office know. Give them the contact information so that I will know. I asked if we could have it on a weekend or in the evening. Could it be at Jacoby Hospital, etc.? But I mean, if it's only one person, I don't think they're going to have a demonstration. So if anyone is really interested, please let the office know and they will let me know.
Thank you, Sandra.
You're welcome.
Housing, Hazel, please.
So real quick, Chris, Hazel, before you start, I'm emailing out the ballot right now, this minute. Remember, for your vote to legally count, you have to be present currently in the meeting, or you have to have voted while you're present. And then if you leave, that's a different story. But WebEx keeps tracks of when you leave, when you enter, when you leave, and I'm sending the ballot right now to everybody.
All righty, I'll let you know when I get it.
Right.
How you missing the ballot? I'm sorry.
Everybody got an email. I did not BCC board members, but on my BCC, I openly emailed you all so you can verify that, you're all board members. There's nothing being hidden here.
Okay.
Everything's being done fairly. So everybody should have received an email right now. Sandy, if you want to check.
No, I haven't gotten mine yet.
Yeah, I got it.
I received it.
All right, great. Thank you. Hazel, sorry about that.
That's okay.
I haven't gotten it yet.
Oh, misery loves company. I'm glad.
All right, hold on a minute because I want to vote.
Now I got it. I just got it.
Make sure, Debbie, somebody, I think.
Okay, just put yourself on mute.
Where is it? Got it. Okay.
I think I might, Jeremy.
You get it, guys. Give it a little bit of time. I mean, you're gonna
Okay.
Hazel, you have the floor.
Hold on 1 minute. Okay. Alrighty, so I'm pretty sure that by now everybody has heard about Jacoby Hospital's proposed plan to do this thing called Just Home, a New York City Health and Hospital Correctional Health Service Housing Initiative. What they are proposing is to turn a current, I believe it's a current building.
Yes, building 2.
Okay, thank you. Into permanent housing for a certain type of individual. So I had spoken, I made it a point to call a Miss Jeanette Merrill, who is the person that I needed to call for more information. And she kind of gave me the rundown on the building or gave me as much information as I guess she was able to give me or wanted to give me. And there's a lot of misinformation going out in the community. Like always, people, it's like telephone. One person tells somebody one thing, and then by the time it gets to the last person, it's a whole different story. So the project is only in preliminary talks right now. The nonprofit has not been named, but I'm pretty sure they have one in mind, and it should be finalized in a few weeks. Now, I had planned to have my committee have planned to have a meeting next Monday to bring Jacoby in so that we can get more information. But after talking to Ms. Merrill, it really didn't make sense to do that because there's so much more information and so many other people that need to be at this table. So 60% of the population so the building is going to be 100 units of studio apartments. And 60% of the people that will be utilizing this space are going to be people that are incarcerated at Rikers Island, but they have cases that have either been dismissed or resolved. In some cases may not even are still awaiting trial, are considered medically vulnerable. They're not sick enough to need a nursing home or a hospice, but not well enough to be on their own. So they may have dementia, cancer, heart failure, or any other grave illness that does not allow them to be able to live on their own. Now they are basing the people who they relocate on their health and not their criminal past. So, and the reason why they're putting them in this particular building on the campus of Jacoby is so that they can have access to the Jacoby's resources. You know, I had expressed our opposition to this being turned into a homeless shelter in the future because I asked, well, you know, if these people are are ill and, you know, maybe have one foot in the grave, I don't mean to sound so morbid, but, you know, who are they going to replace them with? You know, I don't really trust anybody. So, but she, you know, specifically said that it's not going to be a homeless shelter. This is going to be permanent housing for these people. And then if somebody does pass away, they will probably fill that studio apartment with somebody else from Rikers. So of course I asked her, well, is this a way that the city is trying to take the burden off themselves and put the burden now upon, you know, the city and the state? Because these people are currently in Rikers Island Infirmary. So she was, you know, very, you know, professional and political. And she said, no, you know, we just want to make sure that these people get the services that they need. So I, you know, said, yes, they really do need to get, if you're going to put them in this place because of this, they do actually, you know, 100% need the services. And one of the first things that we need to know is who is the developer, who is the provider. So we have a list of people we do not want in our community, and we want to make sure that the person that you pick is not on that list. I also told her that we just fought DHS regarding the White Plains Road shelter that they have proposed on White Plains Road. Of course, I just repeated myself, sorry. So I told, you know, I said to her, you know, this is a community that's not afraid to fight. You know, we don't want to be against people that are sick. You know, we want them to get the care that they need, but we just want to make sure that this is done the right way, because we've heard so much BS from other people that we don't want this to turn into one of those situations. So she said that the developer should be accepted or whatever, picked within the next couple of weeks. You know, she said either, you know, 2 or 3 weeks. And I insisted that at that time, we must have a public hearing or a housing committee meeting where the public can come and get all the information they need and ask all the questions that need to be asked. And then one of the things that I did stress to her, because we've been hearing rumors, as always, people talk, that, that they might knock down that wall on Seminole and put the entrance to this specific location there. I made it very clear to her that we are not accepting that. If that building is going to be on the campus, then the entrance is going to be on the campus also. I stated to her that there's a lot of, there's houses on the other side of that wall. There's, the people that have been living there a long time. We have a lot of senior citizens there, and we have to protect our community and our residents. So then the other 40%, which I was so wrapped up in the 60% that I kind of forgot to ask her a little more about the 40%, but they are going to be low income, for people of low income. And, according to the handout, it's probably going to be people from our community. Now, I've asked my committee and other people in the community, because I want to ask her all the questions that I forgot to ask her while I had her on the phone. So I really want people to send me any questions that I may have forgotten to ask. But she agreed she agreed to the meeting. So the meeting will hopefully consist of someone from Jacoby, someone from HAC, and of course the provider, whoever that is that they pick. So we are going to probably have this meeting towards hopefully the middle, or at least the third week in July, because I told her we're not waiting any longer than that. I want this to happen as soon as possible. So does the community board, and so does the community. So that's all I have to say.
Hazel, one of the questions that were asked, it's permanent housing. They said nothing about the people in the community being serviced by that building. It's, as I said, 60% were going to be people from Rikers Island. The other 40%, I think the cutoff was $39,000 a year. Anybody under that would be housed on the grounds at Jacoby.
Right, but I'm sorry, Al, but in their handout, it does say 40% low income housing for members of the community. So
well, that's not what I heard when they set it out at the hospital. I was there when they presented it. The other question that was asked was what about visitors? If they have visitors coming to them, what happens to them? Do you throw them out? Because they're supposed to be single person apartments. And the answer was no. So what happens then, you may have somebody with an apartment and 3 or 4 people are coming to visit, and now you have a problem. Again, my stand is, it's always been enough with the Bronx. I asked them if it was put in, has it been tried anyplace else? The answer was no. So again, the Bronx becomes a trial, and in other words, if something bad happens, well, it's only happening in the Bronx. The recidivism rate of criminals is 66%. Of those 66%, 50 are reincarcerated. They may be sick. It doesn't mean they're good guys. So again, as far as the community goes, as far as I can see, we're 100% against it, and we'll do whatever we can to prevent that from happening.
I'm for it.
Can I ask a question? Hazel, when you asked about them having the entrance be on the campus and not 1900 Seminole, was there a response?
She said that she doesn't know the specifics, but that's something that she's going to bring back to whoever. So, but I made that perfectly clear to her that entrance is not going to be on Seminole.
I know. I was just curious what her reaction was, or was it just?
Well, I didn't think she expected that question at all, so she was not prepared to answer that. For sure. To answer that.
Will we be able?
When you say from.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
When you say from Rikers, are you saying inmates that are still awaiting trial, or are you saying somebody that's out
Debbie,
on
we were
out
told,
on
Debbie,
bail
we were told
or
that people that were being
on parole?
people were being released from Rikers who were homeless. That's what we were told. So in other words, there are prisoners that are being released from Rikers that are homeless. There are prisoners that are being released from Rikers that are homeless.
But when you're saying prisoners from Rikers, are they just being released and then they're awaiting their trial, or are they out on parole? They had their trial, they had their day in court, they did their time, and now they're out on parole.
The way I understood it, it's people that were now free. They did their time and now free, that are sick and have no place to go.
Well, she also said that there are some who are awaiting trial. What, the bottom line is, what my personal opinion and while I was talking to her was that I think Rikers Island just wants to get rid of these sick people. They probably want to close the infirmary. They probably don't want to spend any more money taking care of these people, and they just want to throw them out into our community. I asked her that like 3 times, and she said, no, that's really not what it is. But you know what? I think that's exactly what it is. Rikers Island doesn't want to take care of these people anymore. They it's probably a lot of money to spend on them and their medication and their whatever. And, instead of doing the right thing for them, taking care of them the way that they're supposed to be taken care of, they'd rather just throw them out.
You're right, Hazel. That's exactly what I felt.
I agree.
They pull on people's heartstrings because, again, everybody feels sorry for anybody who's sick. I mean, everybody wants to do the right thing for those that are sick. And I've always been a proponent that we take care of our own. If it's people in our community, it's our job to take care of, the sick, disabled, anyone in our community, they're our neighbors. We have to take care of them. But as proof in the past has been, we're getting people from all over the city. They're dumping everything in the Bronx. And I don't mean to say dumping like, these people they're human beings. They should be treated with respect. But again, why is everything coming into the Bronx? We have the most homeless shelters. We have the most group homes than any other borough. And we're 4th in population. The only borough that has less of a population than we have is Staten Island. They have 1 homeless shelter. I mean, it's just, I'm tired of the Bronx being used as an experiment. I also asked the question, has this been done in any other place? Because I wanted to see what kind of a track record they had. No, it's an experiment. So this is our experiment in our community, in our neighborhoods. I'm sorry, I'm not happy with it.
Hazel, I have a question, if I can. There were 5 schools in the vicinity. How can we guarantee the safety of the children that are attending those 5 schools? Are there going to be guards in this place? Are they going to be allowed to roam freely?
Well, this is not a shelter. This is what they're saying. This is not a shelter, so it's not going to have the same security that a shelter would have. And she didn't really specify that.
Of course not.
To me.
They're putting 60
we have to treat it. We have to treat it like. Hold on. Because these people are going to be getting rent stabilized leases. So we have to look at this like it's just a regular building that happens to be on the campus of Jacobi Hospital.
Some of these people can be pedophiles with dementia that we have in our community now, right near 5 schools.
Yes,
right,
exactly.
walking on a
because
property.
She said that they're not going to pick the people that are going into this facility by the crime that they've committed. So basically, they don't care what crime they've committed. They're sick, they're going to just put them in this building.
By the way, I also asked the presenters, does any one of the presenters live in the Bronx? The answer was no. Does anyone live in the city? The answer was no. Most of them come from either Westchester or other places. So again, put them in our community, and that's 60 convicted criminals they're going to put in our community.
Al, if I may, it's probably a group like, say, the bridge or whatever, who's going to take over this building. And they're going to be paid by the city to do the job. So it's not that they're just going to set up this apartment building. Where are they getting the funding from? They're getting it from the city.
It's a
Sandy,
city.
they might
doesn't
be,
look like they're going to save money.
Sandy, they might be getting this money from the state. So that's a question that she wouldn't really answer either.
I think it's city because I think it's HHC that put it forward. So it came from HHC, and since Jacoby is a city hospital, they have a
Yeah,
right-
but it might be state money that's funneling down. That's one of the things that we have to find out.
Hazel, at Bronx Psychiatric Center or the Bronx Developmental, there is a forensic unit at the psych center, which most people don't know about. These are criminals that are living at the psych center on the premises already.
Let's ask them to come and present again. Let's keep asking them to come until all the answers to all the questions we have are answered.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'll help out a little here. Prepare a list of, no, Mr. Weinstein, you cannot speak. Prepare the questions. Hazel, I know you're on top of it. We as an office, and we're on top of it. I wanted to add two things. The property is city-owned. And second, if you remember very well, it was brought into attention to everybody that Rikers is going to close. And it was an idea that was thrown there that each and every borough going to get something. So this might be one of them.
So, Chris, just to point out, you're talking about Mr. Weinstein. Just so everybody's aware, Mr. Weinstein does work for HPD, and Jacoby Medical Center, or the presentation that was given to the Community Advisory Board at Jacoby did say they would rely on HPD financing tools. So if you do have questions, Mr. Weinstein, if the board wants to ask him, we can always get in touch with him afterwards, whatever the board prefers. We are spending a lot of time on the topic, though. Joe Thompson has not voted yet. So and neither has Janice Walcott, but everybody else has voted.
Jeremy, did you want to give Mr. Wiseman an opportunity to talk?
It's up to the members. It's up to you if you have questions that he might be able to answer.
Sure, he has his hand up, so he obviously wanted to make a comment. So it's fine. Go ahead, Mr. Wiseman.
Weinstein, okay, thank you.
Weinstein, sorry about that.
It's okay. My name is Ted Weinstein. I'm Director of Bronx Planning for HPD, the city's Department of Housing Preservation and Development. And our involvement here, as was just said, is that the financing for the renovation of the building will be coming from one of our programs. Just a couple of things, and I will not be able to answer a lot of your questions because I don't know the answers to a lot of the things, but basically what happened here is the division that is called Correctional Health Services originally was part of the Corrections Department. That was changed to Health and Hospitals Corporation, I don't know, a couple of years ago, I guess. So Health and Hospitals is now responsible for the health care of these people. You might probably know that when someone is in one of the correctional facilities, the city is responsible for their health care. So, and you also know, I'm sure, that the intent is to close down Rikers at some point. So these are people who would be eligible to be released from Rikers. I'm sure many of them have not even been found guilty of anything yet, or maybe they have, or they've gotten to the point of their trial or whatever it is, but they need what I think they're calling complex medical care. It could be cancer treatments, it could be dialysis, it could be things like that. And they don't have a place to go when they get out of Rikers. And so instead of just putting them out on the street, this would be a way of putting them into permanent housing. And again, I think Hazel mentioned in passing that they will be getting rent stabilized. The program, our program that will be involved is called the Supportive Housing Loan Program. And it's a program where qualified sponsor developers, people who are in that business of providing housing and support services, they get financing from us to build buildings like this. And so in this case, instead of a new construction, it would be a renovation, a conversion from a building to a, from an office building to residence. But again, and yes, the way we do it, the standard way for this program is that when these buildings are built or converted, 60% of the units go to people formerly homeless, and then the other 40% are for general population who are income eligible. There's a building on Bronx Park East that several years back, an organization called Postgraduate Center built. Nice looking building on Bronx Park East under the same program. And so, yeah, 60% of the units would be people who had been in Rikers, but who come out and need help. The other 40% would be just taking it through a lottery system. You may have heard about Housing Connect. That's our lottery system that is used for people to apply and then get accepted to these various new buildings that are built. There is a community board district preference for 50% of those units. So 40% of the units here preference would be given to people from Community District 11. I mean, I can try to answer other questions about.
Excuse me, Mr. Weinstein, you live in the community?
I live in the Bronx.
Where?
I live in Riverdale.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. We'll put it in Riverdale.
Does it matter?
I actually live by the building.
Let's continue. This could go on for a long time. We'll deal with this when we have to. Right now, let's move on.
Yeah.
Well, the chair was out of line, disrespectful.
Okay.
Jeremy,
So us as a board member, I mean, so let's be clear. We keep getting interruptions from members. No. Hold on. I understand. Okay, Richard Reynoso is fine. I'm not allowing anybody to mute themselves. This is more than this. This is at least the second, if not third time we had an interruption from a member of the public. We have you cannot interrupt the process of the meeting, please. I'm going to allow everybody to unmute themselves. Who wants to? I think Richard Reynoso wanted to speak. I do think we should move on. So yeah, Oral, be prepared to, move us along. Richard?
I live by the building on Bronx Park East, and I can attest that the building is very functional and they're very adhesive to all the rules. That's it. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Richard. Okay. Anyone else? Any questions, comments to Mr. Weinstein?
Okay, well, thank you very much for attending tonight.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
All right.
Okay, Jeremy, you can move on.
Yeah, Joe, did you vote yet? Joe Thompson? I
didn't vote yet because I don't even know how to get there. But I do want to ask a question for Mr. Weinstein. Is there any security in this building?
You have to unmute, Mr. Weinstein. Unmute. Thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry. I would presume yes. I mean, I don't want to say something that I don't actually have knowledge of. I would assume yes, because that's standard in these buildings, that there are on-site support services and then generally some type of security. But I don't want to say, I don't want to guarantee it because I don't know.
Could you reach out to us and let us know?
Well, I think the intent is, again, that when the sponsor developer gets selected, they will be part of whatever comes to you to make the presentation. And then they can tell you exactly what kind of services. But there are offices in these buildings, always have offices on site to provide services.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions for Mr. Weinstein? Anyone else? Okay, Jeremy. Okay, Jeremy, you can move on.
Let me try sharing the screen again. Or Chris, you want to share the agenda? I think I closed it because I had too many things up.
Yeah, I have closed mine too, believe it or not.
All right, let me pull it up real quick. Hold on. Just bear with me.
It's land use is next.
Kenny, that's you, Kenny. You're up.
Yeah, Ken, and just so I know you weren't able to attend the leadership committee meeting, but I think oral somebody suggested we put it on the agenda.
That's
Just
fine.
remind you.
We are,
about
going- we are, as I stated, as I stated at the beginning of the meeting, we're going to be having a meeting about this. This is not, as Mr. Dooling, I think, stated, it is not certified yet. We are going to have a meeting about this, a public meeting about this, public hearing on this. It is going to be a zoning change, and we'll have more to say after we schedule the meeting. That's it.
Okay, public safety, Veronica Castro.
We did have a meeting this month. Captain Sanchez from the Parks Enforcement Patrol joined us to address concerns such as illegal barbecuing in the parks and e-scooters and ATV driving within the parks. Councilman Oswald Felice also joined us, and he answered some questions from the public and from the committee. So if you haven't, I suggest you go and watch the recordings. There is some very useful information there. Other than that, that's my report, and I wish everyone a happy and safe summer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sanitation and
Sanitation. I got to talk to Joanne. Chris, did you take over oral? I got to talk to Joanne Rubio.
Okay, I got him. Sanitation and environmental protection, Avril.
Thank you, Chris.
Avril?
Hello?
Avril, are you in?
Unmute if you're there.
Okay, it seems that she's not around. Then let's continue with transportation. Rabbi, floor is yours.
Hello. Okay. So we had another presentation on this new Bronx bus network. Sounds very nice. And there was MTA people there, and they spoke about the new stations, Co-op City, Morris Park, and two others, which I think one in the South Bronx, and there's one more. They said 2027 is their goal to have it finished. In regard to the Bronx bus network, it's really trying to solve Gun Hill Road. And when I brought up to them, Allerton is still a mess and Pelham Parkway is a mess. And they said they'll look into it. So what it's going to help the community, I don't know. I think it's going to help people maybe on Gun Hill Road. They're going to do some special lanes and so on and so forth. But unfortunately, I don't believe it when I see it. I think they're trying hard to make it work, but there's just too many cars and too many buses down Gun Hill Road. So that's my report for this evening. I would take any questions if there are any questions.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Okay, and unless there are questions, that concludes the committee reports.
Are you back, Jack?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay.
So elected officials, Tom McCaney, Borough President's Office. I don't think we have any principals in here, right? It's just the reps. Tom?
Hi, good evening again, everyone. And it's been a long evening, and I've spoken probably already too much. So just for everyone's understanding, the reappointment letters were sent out to all board members. So we look forward to continuing to work with you over the next term. It's important that those who were reappointed continue to participate fully in their full board meetings as well as committee meetings, and those whose attendance has been lacking. We do have a note of that for the next round, so hopefully this term you will have a better attendance if there has been an issue. I know the pandemic has taken the toll on some folks, and we've taken that into consideration when we did do reappointments this year. So hopefully, as we move forward, people will be able to attend their meetings on a regular basis. Borough President did put out a latest newsletter, which I've shared with all of you, and it does talk about many of the events and news press releases that she has included over the last week. This evening was the Caribbean American celebration, and that was held on Gun Hill Road this evening, and so it was from what I understand, a very pleasant evening. And then finally, I do want to just thank you all for your participation over the last year. Again, it's been 2 years of looking at everybody in little square boxes. Hopefully, we will be back in September. I hope everybody's summer is healthy and safe. And we will see you all then in September. Thank you.
Tom, this is
Yeah.
Joanne. I have a question.
Sure, Joanne.
Okay, the harassment training, I can't get in, and they resent me the link, and it doesn't work.
Joanne, I have the same problem.
I can't, I don't know why. They have suggested that it be refreshed. They have suggested that I resend the link, which I've done for many members multiple times already. What we are going to do in order to help satisfy the folks who can't get on is have a WebEx where our general counsel, Mirtha Sabio, will give the training online, and you will get credit for it. So I'm just waiting for a date to confirm with Mirtha, and I will be sending out the note to everyone. So if you don't have the link, or there's obviously a problem with some folks linking on, or there's obviously a problem with some folks. I just heard some feedback. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. We will have a virtual online session where Mirtha will give the presentation in person, and that will accommodate any of those who cannot access the link.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It's nice to know we're not alone, Joanne.
So much, right?
It's nice to know we're not alone, Joanne.
Right?
Yeah, I can't get in either, and I've tried from multiple computers and multiple sources. So
I can't
not just refresh.
Answer why, and DCAS has had similar problems with those, because part of the issue is that since you are not city employees and you do not have a city access code where you can take it from a city computer directly, you have to take it obviously off of your personal computer with your personal email addresses. And so this has been a challenge for this round more than previous rounds, unfortunately.
So there's no way we can do it at, say, the community board?
That's always a possibility, but that's up to the staff to determine if that's something that they would like to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible, but I would prefer to troubleshoot your issues first, right? I mean, issues first. I mean, right?
Jeremy,
like I said, I've tried.
So hold on, one person at a time. I mean, I don't know what the issue is with that, trying to troubleshoot, at least making the attempt. Because I ultimately, I mean, I understand it's not easy for everybody, but I do think as much as possible, I can help you be self-reliant, the better off we are.
Mike, forget about it, Jeremy. I can get on the WebEx here. Why can't we get on the WebEx from the whatever they're sending us? I have no idea.
It's a lot of us, Jeremy. I can't get on it either.
Well, yeah, the only person I heard from was Sandy. This is news to me in terms of Joanne, Tiz, anybody else. So, yeah, I mean, we can work with everybody. It's not a problem, but I can't work with you if I don't know about the problem. It's not a problem.
I mentioned it to Tom the past 2 meetings.
Right. And they sent me a link, and I still can't get on.
All right, Jeremy will try to troubleshoot it. If he can't, then you can go into the office and take it to the office.
From your lips to God's ears. Okay.
Yeah, but the most important thing, Sandy, is that you try. Right?
Oh, I've tried. I've had my son.
I understand you've tried, but you haven't tried with me. And
Jeremy, it's not worth it. It's not worth to go through the hassle again and again and again.
I don't know what to tell you, Sandy. I mean,
Well, I know. Let us come into the office. Let us get at the computer. We've done it before. 1, 2, 3, within 50 minutes, we're in and out.
All right. Anything else on that subject for Tom? No. Okay. So do we have anybody from the council members' offices here?
Hi, folks.
Go ahead.
This is Alex from Councilmember Velasquez's office.
All right, so go ahead.
You can go ahead. 2 minutes.
All right, just a quick few updates from the council member's office. If you weren't aware, the council passed the budget a couple weeks ago. The council member is very happy with some of the returns coming to the district. She got $20 million in capital funding. Highlighted there is over about $11 million for Jacoby Hospital. And we'll be rolling out more information on that soon. Also just a general overboard funding for our senior centers, clean up for the streets. Our parks are going to be funded very well in this budget, so the council member is very happy with that. Want to highlight a couple of events for the weekend. Tomorrow night at, I apologize if I'm saying this wrong, Mazie Playground. Do I have that right?
Mazai.
Okay. Mazai Playground. There's going to be a movie tomorrow night, The Last Dragon. The movie should start around dusk, so 8:30, 9 o'clock, somewhere around there. Same location the next day. There's going to be a family day. Great chance to bring out the kids. There's going to be inflatables, games. Should be good weather. And then looking forward into the week at Orchard Beach, there's going to be fireworks, and we're doing that in conjunction with the Borough President's Office. So a head start on the 4th of July weekend. Would love to have everyone out there. And I'll take any questions if you have them.
Okay, great. 30 seconds.
Yep. All right. So do we have Jamal from Councilmember I's office here, I believe?
Yes. Good night, everyone. Thank you for having me. Our office continues to be open Monday through Friday. We are accepting all walk-ins at 940 East Gun Hill Road and 135 Einstein Loop North, room 44 in Co-op City, Section 5. We have our weekly food pantry at 3369 Wilson Avenue from 12 to 2 p.m. So please, if you know anyone that is having any food insecurities, please have them stop by. We have a lot of fresh foods, meats, bread, etc. And then this Saturday, we have our Summer Sounds Block Party in collaboration with the Bronx Narratives. It'll be on this Saturday, the 25th, starting at 1 p.m. It'll be on Laconia Avenue between Gun Hill and Boston Road. So please feel free to stop by. There'll be music, refreshments, games, and resources as well. So thank you, and have a wonderful summer, and everyone take care.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jamal. Next.
So I think that concludes the council members. Where am I? The mayor's office was here, but she had to leave. Alina, if anybody wants her contact info, I could send that out to everybody, or anybody who reaches out to us. Comptroller's office, I don't believe is here tonight. Public Advocate's office. Bronx District Attorney's office, I think Christina was supposed to be here.
Good evening, Community Board 11. Christina Calderon from the DA's office. I just wanted to say have a great summer, and I want to thank you all for supporting us during our gun violence awareness event, which we held early in June. We will be out in the community this summer. You guys know how to contact me should you need to. My email address is Calderon, CALDERON, @bronxbronxda.nyc.gov. Enjoy your summer.
Thank you.
Okay.
Next.
And do we have anybody from the congressman or woman's office? Ocasio-Cortez, Bowman?
Yes, Stacey's here from the office of Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez. Good evening, everyone. We are hosting our next town hall virtually on next week, June 29th at 5:30 p.m. I will be forwarding all the registration links to Jeremy in case any of you may want to stop by. The Congresswoman will be giving updates on the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, currently in the Senate. the January 6th committee hearings, and she will also be sharing recent wins and opportunities for our district. Secondly, the House and Senate are working on the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. Some of the highlights of this bill include children and family mental health services, expanded background checks to include juvenile records, prohibit gun sales for those disqualifying juvenile records, requiring enhanced background checks for buyers under 21 years old, crisis intervention grant funding, and the bill gives the authority to prosecute those who are believed to have acted as middlemen for gun trafficking, amongst many other provisions. Again, the Congresswoman will further discuss the bill at our next town hall. Next, we have secured a few wins off the Water Resources Development Act, including a provision that will help us remove abandoned and decaying barges from the Eastchester Bay. We will work to get this project the appropriate funds so our Bronx residents no longer have to deal with this eyesore and environmental hazard. I also do want to note that with the new redistricting lines, we lost some parts of Morris Park, Allerton as a whole, and some parts of Pelham Gardens. And as always, we welcome questions and comments from all of you on current legislation, whether you have thoughts on gun violence, school funding, consumer
Wait a second.
prices, or anything else. You can just utilize the email me on our website or give us a call. I will send all of this to Jeremy, and I wish you all have a great summer. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. Okay, Jeremy, next. Jeremy?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. You can go.
All right. So Senator Biagi's office.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. This is Caitlin from Senator Biagi's office. I just want to let everyone know that our office is available for any constituent issues or comments. You can reach our constituent services team at constituentservices@senatorbiagi.com, or you can call our district office at 718-822-2049, extension 1. That usually goes to me, so I'll answer. And our office is open for in-person visits by appointment. If you need anything, please reach out, and I hope you all have a great summer.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Jeremy, next.
Bailey's office could not be here tonight. They did email me a flyer. I think I sent it out to the board. Some event. Is Senator Rivera's office here? I believe somebody was here, if they're not here still. Do you have any of our assembly members, any representatives from our assembly members' office here tonight?
Fernandez, Hasty, Bernardo, Reyes.
Benedetto or Reyes? Not.
Okay.
That concludes the elected officials, unless there's somebody I don't know about. Any old business? Joanne Rubino, do you
Yes,
have any?
the old business, it's very new old business. We have the results of our election. For chairperson, the winner is Yahe Obid with 70%, approximately 70% of the vote. For the vice chairperson, Al D'Angelo, of course, and Secretary Hazel Mura. Okay, congratulations to all.
Congrats, y'all.
Thank you, Joanne.
You're welcome.
Any other old business? Okay, any new business?
Yes, I have some new business.
Right ahead.
I'm jumping right in. Number one, Van Est is going to have 2 Playmobiles, 2 different dates, on July 23rd and the second on August 13th, starting at 11 a.m. And that is working with Parks. So Parks is going to have their Playmobil at Van Est Park. And the second thing is to make everybody aware that the Bronx hearing for the New York City Districting Commission is going to be on Wednesday, July 6th. And that is going to be an in-person meeting at Hostas Community College and the hours are from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. So that information was just made public. So there will only be one more hearing it'll be in each one of the boroughs and in the Bronx. So if anybody wants to testify, please go on to the website and get the information. But the date is definitely Wednesday, July 6th. And lastly, but not least, I just want to let everybody here in Community Board 11 know that communities should be joining forces and uniting for any kind of issues that are happening in other parts of the Bronx with specifically to point out, which is the Bruckner upzoning, because we should all unite together because what's happening there will probably be happening in our community. So we should all be a united front. And if you're not familiar with it, please go onto the websites on Facebook. There's a lot of information. And I just urge everybody to look into it, support, show up, do whatever it is, because when it's our turn, we would like them to support us. So and everybody have a wonderful summer. And everybody have a wonderful summer.
How's my
Bernadette, you mentioned about what Hostess, you mentioned what Hostess,
It's a 500 grand concourse. That was the information, is where the meeting, the public hearing is going to be, if you want to testify. Again, I'm getting feedback.
right, that's what I'm saying. Where's the link?
It will, I could send it out. If you go on to the New York City District and Commission, that information is there. I'll send it out. I'll find it. I'll send it out I'll give it to Jeremy to send out to everybody.
Or you could just reply all to the ballot email that I sent out. I mean, well, it's not the full board, but it's up to you, Brandon. Or you can send it to me. I can send it to everybody.
Okay. I just don't have it right now. I just basically got the information. So.
Before my last official act as chair, I just want to congratulate everybody who ran and those who won. I also want to, what Bernadette said is 100% right. If we don't stick together as Bronxites, we will definitely each fall apart. They'll go after one area at a time. What happens in Gun Hill will happen in Morris Park. What happens in Morris Park will happen in Van Ness. We need to work together as a community to make sure that the Bronx is viable. It seems that the Bronx is being used for anytime somebody wants to put in a project, they use the Bronx because the land is cheaper and they take advantage of people in the Bronx. So I think we need to work together and stay together with the people from Frog's Neck who are fighting the upzoning, which will soon come to Morris Park and Van Ness and other areas in the community. And lastly, I just want to wish everybody a very happy and healthy Christmas season. Yeah.
Summer.
It's not really too cold or too hot for now. Yeah, God. That's what
that was good. That was good, Al. That was good, Al. Too soon.
Enjoy your summer.
You too.
Too soon. It's almost right around the corner now, right? After 4th of July, Christmas.
No, we got to enjoy summer.
I'm trying.
Stay focused.
I hear you.
Yeah.
We will.
Speaking of which, any other new business so we can adjourn the meeting? Speaking of which, any other new business so we can adjourn the meeting?
Yes, I would then like to bring up about.
Whenever you're.
Excuse me?
Whenever you're unmuted, we get feedback. I think I know why, but go ahead. Whenever you're unmuted, we get feedback. I think I know why, but go ahead.
I have no clue why, but all right, whatever. Yeah, I want to now then make a motion to have some meetings put together, condense some of the meetings like sanitation and transportation or, whichever ones would be viable together. Because like I said, I bring forth one motion in one meeting and it's like, oh no, it's not transportation, it's sanitation.
Okay.
Lost
Jeremy?
We lost you.
Jeremy, Debbie made a motion.
Can everybody hear me? I'm here.
Yeah, we hear you, Jeremy. I think Debbie made a motion, but her mic.
I know what the motion is. She would like to have, if I may, Oral, she wants to have some meetings combined at times, like say maybe sanitation and something else, because she's been at meetings where she brings up something and they go, oh no, it should really be brought up at this meeting.
I think
combine meetings.
That would be the job of the chairs. If the chairs decide that they should meet together, then they can do that. I think the chairs, if there's a necessity for that, then I think the chairs should make that motion. In other words, just bring the two groups together for a
Yes.
joint meeting.
Yeah, Hazel and I did it once.
Right. There's no
So,
reason
yeah,
for a
it's
motion. It's just
possible.
something that the chair people should do.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
I think a specific topic is very helpful.
Yeah, because
Right.
even our land use and housing, sometimes those things kind of overlap at times. So okay.
So that was her motion. So would we vote on it or do we make a motion?
Well, if you need a second to vote on it. If anybody wants to
Second it.
I second.
So seconded by Bernadette. Any discussion? Further discussion? Okay, anybody opposed or against?
Well, it's the clarification is, Jeremy, at times when we need to, we'll combine meetings, right? Not all the time, but when it's
Correct.
necessary. Okay, that's fine.
If
I
if
understand
it
now.
seems to fall into two categories, whatever it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
But why we need a motion? Because when it is needed, we already have done it, like health and social services and housing.
But
That
that
was the last
well,
example. Why it has to be a motion in housing?
but that
That was the last
well,
example. Why it has to be a motion?
No, I'm like
Go ahead.
Community Board 10 has has a municipality which covers more than one area, more than one committee.
But when you say
So
municipality, Debbie, do you mean a
why can we not
Wait,
have?
when you say municipality, Debbie, do you mean a municipal? Do you mean a
So
municipal
I
committee?
can't hear you.
Do you mean a
so
municipal
so hold on, Sandy. So again,
Guys, look, listen, if we're going to combine meetings, the chair people decide that their meetings should come together because it's something that they need to discuss jointly. And that's the way it's done. There's no need for a motion. It's something that the chair people of those, the heads of those committees can make a decision. This way we can talk about this all night, but that's the easiest way to do it. And Debbie's right. If sometimes committees need to meet, and Oral mentioned it, if housing needs to meet with transportation or sanitation, whatever, you call the other committee chair and say, look, I think we ought to have a joint meeting because what we have to discuss is going to impact your committee also. I think it's that simple. I think it's something that committee chairs should be able to do on their own.
I think where Debbie was going with is Community Board 10 has a municipal services committee. I think that's the example she's referring to. Am I wrong, Debbie? Am I wrong, Debbie? You're unmuted, Debbie.
That's what I know she
You're
was
unmuted,
going
Debbie.
for. That's what I know she was going for.
Can you repeat that?
So you're looking for a municipal services committee like Community Board 10. Looking for a municipal services committee like Community Board 10. Is that what you're looking for?
Like I said, Merry Christmas.
Yes. Can you?
Go ahead, Debbie. I can't hear you now.
Jeremy?
Go ahead, Ellie. You making a motion to adjourn?
No, Jeremy, I just wanted to add to the discussion. Debbie is bringing up the issue that she raises a question at a meeting, and in raising that question, that particular committee can't address it, which is different than two chair people getting together on their own and then deciding to have a meeting where those issues are shared. That does not eliminate the fact that somebody in the gallery may ask a question that is not part of those two chairpersons getting together. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know, but I'm pretty sure she was specifically talking about the Municipal Services Committee at Community Board 10.
Jeremy, it's that I understand. That I understand. But her question is her raising a question that can't be answered because you referred to somebody else. You're not going to eliminate that issue. The best we can do is two chairpersons getting together, realizing that they have a common interest in a particular meeting, and then they should come together.
Yeah, that's what Al said.
Predict
Yep.
you're never going to predict what the gallery.
Okay, listen, you guys, Tom, go ahead. Maybe Tom, you have a clarification, Tom.
Well, it's not so much of a clarification, but I think Jeremy is correct. Debbie referred to Board 10, and Board 10 does have a municipal services committee, which takes in the responsibilities of a number of city agencies that fall underneath it. I think what Debbie, and I don't know if she's having trouble logging in, but I think what Debbie is looking to do is to discuss with the leadership committee the possibility of combining some of the existing committees that may be municipal services in this particular case under one committee, so that if those questions come up, as Eli is saying, in a committee, then it doesn't have to be then referred out to another committee. I believe, and if she's on the line, I hope I'm identifying her concern correctly, but also just to be fair to her, there was a motion, it was second, and so it does have to be voted on.
We're having discussion.
Unless she withdraws the motion, right, Tom?
Just to withdraw, of course, but I don't hear her, so I don't know if she's trying to get back onto the WebEx, but she did make a motion onto the WebEx, but she did make a motion.
Tom, you're right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Tom, you're right.
Yeah. Yes. I heard you. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, Debbie, there's something wrong. Every time you come on, we get an echo. We get an echo when you every time you log on with your mic. But anyway, should we table this for now because it's getting late, and talk?
You have a valid motion that you have to vote on.
Okay.
Unless
okay,
Debbie chooses to withdraw. Unless she chooses to withdraw it.
Okay. Thank you, Tom.
I'm sorry. I have a question. What is considered municipal? Whatever. Which sanitation, public safety?
That's a determination, Chris. That's a determination that the committee leadership could make. In Board 10, it does take in transportation, it takes in DEP, it takes in public safety. Other than parks, which they have a separate committee for, and I believe they have a separate. I don't think they have a separate transportation committee, but it's up to the committee and the leadership of the board to listen to Debbie and to make that decision one way or another. And then the bylaws would have to be changed to reflect that decision.
That's why I'm saying, Tom, I don't think we can just because we have to discuss this, Tom. That's what I'm
Of
saying.
course, that's what I'm saying. That I think the motion is just to discuss it.
Okay.
I don't think
That's
she's
fine.
I don't think she's saying this should go here. I think she's asking for a meeting in order to discuss her idea.
Yahe, what do you think, Yahe? Is that fine with you?
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, I'm okay with that small meeting. We can discuss it again. Like Tom said, we're not making any decisions tonight on which committees we're combining, but it is a good discussion. And I think it's a good discussion to have in a smaller setting and not at 9:53 p.m.
Agreed. So let's vote on it. Yes, I say yes.
Yes.
The motion is made to discuss the possibility of joining committees.
I second that motion.
I second it.
Second.
All right, anyone abstaining or anyone
Hopefully
against?
there's no more discussion.
Anyone abstaining? Any against? All right, motion passes.
Okay.
Any other new business?
I make new business that we call the meeting and it's adjourned.
All right,
I second.
it.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah.
Good night, everyone. Have a great
Have
summer.
a great
All right,
summer.
enjoy.
I'm
Merry
sure we're
Christmas,
gonna see each
everybody.
other over the summertime.
Yes, I'm logging off now. Congratulations, y'all. Hey, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, everybody.
Congratulations, Yahe.
Good night, guys.
Thank
Thank you,
everybody.
everyone.
Hazel too.
Have a
Hazel,
great
congratulations, guys. Okay, everyone.
Hazel and Al.